So what's good? What's good? What's good? What's good, people? What is good? Waiting for you guys to come on and let's get this show on the road. Let's get this show on the road. What's good, people? What's good? Are you all good? You all well? How's it going? How's it going? How's it going? I feel a lot better today, so I thought I'd do a live stream today. I thought, why not come and have a chat with you guys? Just wait for some of you to start leaving your comments in the comment section, and then we'll get this party started. We'll get the party started. We'll get the party started. Yeah. Let's get this. Let's edit this. Let's get this. Get your questions in, guys. Get your questions in. Get your questions in. Get your questions in, guys. Get your questions in. Get your questions in, and we'll get this live stream. What's good? What's good? What's good? Let me just get this done, and then we'll get started. All right, Ulamia, good question. Canelo's still way ahead. Yeah. Steven, you good? You feeling better? Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Feeling much better. Feeling much better. Let me get the link in the chat for you guys, and then we can get started. Anyone that wants to come on and get this show on the road. Get this show on the road. Yeah, much better, Stephen, man. Evening, troops. Evening, guys. Evening to everybody. It's nearly 9 o'clock here in the UK. We still got 9 minutes for 9 o'clock. So I'm thinking we could do a good 2 hours, 2.5 hours. What's going on, my man, Stephen? You good?
What's up, man? You feeling better?
Yeah, man. Feeling better, man. Feeling better, man. Feeling better. Oh, even better seeing you now, man. Great talking.
Yeah, likewise.
It's great talking boxing with you, man. We've done some marathon, live streams of late, man. Great talking boxing, man.
Indeed.
Some big stuff has happened, Stephen, since we last came on. A lot has happened. The Pacquiao-Spence fight seems up in the air. The Nonito Donaire and Janral Casimero fight has been cancelled, according to Donaire. Canelo has come out and said that he prefers a Charlo fight over Golovkin. There's been talks about Gervonta Davis knocking out, Taylor and Lomachenko. There's also, there's been a lot happening. The UK DAZN team has been announced. I'm obviously sure, you're probably not aware as much of that. But yeah, man, what do you make of the recent news in boxing, man?
Well, I was looking at the Donaire team versus Casimiro.
Yeah.
And I just think, man, kind of, I wanted to talk to you about that because I feel like I don't know how to feel about Nonito Donaire's wife, Rachel, man. It seems like she's kind of instigating the whole thing, and she's kind of drunk with her power. Have you had a chance to look at it into
it? Yeah. I've seen her. She's been calling the like. She's not been happy, man. She's not. I've seen some of the stuff that she said on social media. Some of the stuff she wrote on there as well. Yeah. She's not been happy, man. She's not been happy.
Do you think it's a case where she probably needs to sit back and just like not be so vocal, because it seems to me that she's kind of hell-bent on emphasizing that she's a woman, she's the first to do this, she's the first to do that, she has the power to do this, is X, Y, and Z. How do you feel about that?
I don't know. I think she's obviously she's Nanito. She's quite close to him because I think she trains him as well, or trains him, or she's his
Yeah,
coach or
right.
his corner. Yeah, so she's obviously
Mhm.
very invested in Nanito's career. So to be honest with you, I think she's his like the sergeant just said that she's his manager and his wife, and I think she's also helps in the corner. So she's like I said, she's very invested, and I think that anyone that's your manager and that takes care of all your all your paperwork and all of that is going to be very invested, and that's what, even if it was a male, that's what they would do. So I don't think she's doing any different to what, even if it was a male. So I just think she's sticking up. She wants a clean fight. She said that they want border testing, and apparently they're not happy with the situation. So it's not great, man, because it's a fight that I was looking forward to. So if it is cancelled and it doesn't happen, uh I would be really upset. I really want to see this fight. And I think a lot of boxing fight. I think it was the first time a smaller weight fight of that weight class got that kind of attention,
Yep. Yep.
and for it to
I
fall
mean,
through
because
like
I
that.
wanted to see. Yeah, I want to see that. I wanted to see that fight. I hope it still, comes to fruition because I really want to see that fight. I would love to see what Nonito has left in the tank.
Yeah, yeah. Were you picking Anito to win that fight?
I'm picking Nonito just because, not for I'm picking him just because he has the experience, because I know him, because I've grown up with him to a certain
Mm,
extent. So I'm picking him for those reasons. But Casemiro is, as well as I know, he is
yeah,
absolutely no joke.
yeah. Casemiro's he's dangerous. He's dangerous. He is dangerous. What do you make of the Canelo situation? Canelo, and they're talking about, he come out today actually in a DAZN. I don't know if you've seen it. He said that he prefers a Charlo fight over a Golovkin fight.
I think, man, Canelo, man, I think Canelo is everything that a killer should be. I think that he's everything that if you were to draw or just build from scratch the prototypical gangster fighter, I think you would come up with the image and the likeness of Canelo. I think Canelo, I think he feels like that Golovkin, that's in his past. He's already been there, done that. He wants to go. He wants to be like Attila the Hun or Genghis Khan, and he wants to conquer every aspect of the world. He wants to conquer the world, and then he's already conquered that Triple G episode. That's what I
Mm,
feel.
mm. Yeah.
How
So do
you
you
feel
think?
about it?
Yeah, man. I think Charlo is a lot of fight that a lot of people want to see. Um, and I think he's keen now to fight. He wants to fight Charlo as well. I think that would be a huge fight because I think Charlo's reputation is growing, and I think also he has the attributes to give Canelo some trouble as well. So that'll be a good fight, man. I want to see that fight. I want to see how Charlo gets on. Charlo's been uh, hyped up a lot. A lot of people saying that he's got a great chance of beating Canelo. Many people think that he's got a chance. So if Canelo beats Plant, which obviously may even be a tougher fight than Charlo. Who knows, Stephen?
Yeah, I think it definitely has the potential to be as like you said, as competitive, if not more competitive than Jamal. Well,
Hmm.
see, here's the thing. Here's why I kind of scratch my head is what weight are they gonna fight at? Is it gonna be a catch weight? Because if it's a catch weight, then we
Yeah.
have issues with belts and so forth. What? How would they do? How would they facilitate it?
You know what? I'm a little bit confused about that as well because Jamal Charlo said that he wants to stick at middleweight. But Canelo now, I think he's going to struggle to go back down to middleweight, especially the fact that he campaigned at light heavy and then he went straight to, and then he went straight to, straight down back to super middleweight. So I don't know whether can Canelo make that weight anymore. So I think Jermal's gonna have to go up to 168. But the thing is, why wouldn't Jermal want to go up for all the belts at 168 if that was offered to him?
Well, he's not acclimated at 168. He doesn't feel comfortable at 168. I think you know, he knows that he needs to take baby steps. 168 from 160, that's a big difference. That's 8 pounds.
Yeah. Massive
You know,
difference. Massive difference.
and you can see that Canelo is he's very at home at 168 upper. You know, you can tell by his physique. His physique is that of he looks like a stocky Brahma bull. You know, he doesn't look like somebody who is like teetering on weight class. He looks like he's supposed to be at either 168 or up.
Yeah,
And you don't want Jermal going into something that is doomed from the beginning. You don't want him to do that.
Yeah, but what's the other option then though? Because if Canelo says that I want to fight Jermal, but obviously I can't come down to middleweight, and he's got all the belts at super middleweight, what do you think? What do you think Jermal should do?
Shit. Jermal got. I mean, since Canelo is has the name, he's gonna be like the A side, like as you would say. Shit, Jermal, he got to come up. Either he got to come up, or they got to fight at a catch weight.
Do you think Canelo would fight at catch weight though?
I think Canelo would. Canelo fights for. I mean, they make belts up for him. I know that you don't really like for people to criticize Canelo, but
yeah, he gets a lot his way. Yeah, he fought that at 155, and that was Canelo weight, weren't it? When he fought Cotto, Khan, and Kirkland and those guys.
Yeah. And he's been doing the same thing. So I mean, Canelo do any goddamn thing he wants to. He liable to do anything. I might read in the morning where he's fighting that heavyweight.
Yeah. Basically, this best Nob Alive says Eddie, who is Canelo's trainer, said no catch weights for anyone except Spence. What do you make of that? What do you make of that?
That's a comment that I don't know. You almost get the sense that Eddie Reynoso and Canelo, they kind of think that they're above the rules of boxing, or they're above the frame of boxing. Like everybody's beneath them. Like how are you gonna just specify Errol Spence, because Errol Spence has the biggest name aside from Pacquiao and aside from Canelo. So it's just like a money thing. This is what I be talking about all the time. That's one of the things I talk about. I get so sick of that. I get so sick of money dictating and ruling everything. Man, there's a ton of fighters that been wanting to fight Canelo. Fight one of them. Why are you worried about Errol Spence? Errol Spence is at 147.
Yeah.
I mean, how realistic is that? That's not even realistic.
Steven, what's your opinion about that? If that fight happens at 162 or 163, just say Spence has got no chance in a fight like that, don't you think? With that kind of weight difference, you know what I mean? That's a severe weight difference there.
It's a severe weight difference.
Hey.
Yeah, I believe that it would be. It's against Canelo, yes. I mean, Errol Spence he's used to fighting at one. He's talking about going up to 154. Yeah. Now I asked him to go to 160 to fight Canelo, who's been at those weight classes for a long time. That's ridiculous.
Do you think he'd do it though for money?
Huh?
If he was offered like 30, 40 million for it, do you reckon he'd do it?
Yeah, he'd do it. Like I just said, man, they do anything for money. They do anything for money.
But the thing is, Steven, man, you know, that money, man, that can end up in a brutal knockout or could end up finishing your career, you know? Is that money going to be worth it?
It's not worth it. It's not worth it to a sane person like you and I. But you take a warrior, somebody who is built to fight, somebody who's
Mm.
bred to fight. They just want the challenge, and they want the glory, and they want the guts, and they're willing to jump in there. How many times have you seen fighters fight until they don't have any type of comprehension anymore?
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
those are fighters that just take on the battle, and they just for whatever reason don't have any money, and fighting is the only thing they know how to do.
Mm. Yeah. I'd agree with you, man. I'd agree with you there. But the thing is with Spence, Spence is could potentially be a money man himself. He shouldn't chase a Canelo fight. But like you said, the money sometimes might be too good for him to turn down. And the fact is that Canelo has talked, like if you look at all the smaller guys, he hasn't really talked about anybody apart from Spence. Like he even mentioned, Eddie Renusa said that we're willing to fight Benavidez, Spence, Charlo next, right? So they've put in Spence's name in there. So that means they're interested in that fight. Plus, Spencer's mentioned that he's interested in fighting Canelo. I don't like that fight because I think the weight difference is too much. And as you said, 160 to 168 is a big weight difference, right? What's the difference between 147 and 163 or 160? It's massive. And there's connection issues there for Steven. I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, just to go through some of your guys' questions here in the live stream. So Canelo will beat Charlo. Well, he will be a favorite against Charlo without question, no doubt about it. Canelo would be a favorite against going into against Charlo. So he says, so probably want to bring Charlo to 168. Yeah, I think that's Canelo's going to want to bring Charlo to 168 for sure. XXS says Tim Tszyu can give Jermal a good fight and maybe beat him. Possibly. Tim Tszyu is a very highly rated guy, but Jermal is a bit special at 154 right now. Fighting Jermall Charlo is the better option. Jermall Charlo is the better option. Yeah, it is. Jermall Charlo is a great fighter. Canelo beats all. Lol. Yeah, he does. Guys, I'm just going to put the link again. Anybody that wants to come on can come on. I'm going to put the link in for you in the comment section. So anyone that wants to come on can come on. Ahmed says, only for Spence sounds as bullying. Lol. Best Snob Alive says, Eddie said that they're going to fight Beterbiev. Yeah, that's a great fight. Beterbiev's a great fight as well. I like that fight. Beterbiev's he's a killer. Let's be honest. Beterbiev's a light heavyweight, undefeated, knocked everybody out. That's a dangerous fight, and that's a fight that people would like to see. Canelo would enhance his legacy if you fight a fight like that. So Rohit says Spence is already slow as at 168. Spence will become like a Christmas tree in the ring. Wow. Rohit's going in there. He's not holding back. David Fulton says, how long do you guys reckon Canelo has left? With 59 fights, does he have many more left? I think Canelo's lives a quite clean life. And I think Canelo's improved his defense. He's not been in a lot of wars of late. A lot of his fights have been quite easy. I actually think Canelo's got quite a bit left still. I think Canelo's still got, he said himself, he's got 7 years left, which I find crazy because the guy's had a long, long career. So if he goes another 7 years left, that's a long, long career. So let's see how long Canelo goes on for. I don't know. Maybe he goes on forever. Goes on till another 7-8 years and we get to see another 20 fights. Who knows? Because the man just had 4 fights last year. So, or was it December? No, so this year, December, February, May, and then we're looking at a September fight. Then who knows? He might even fight in December. Canelo's doing it like no other champion in boxing right now. So you have to give Canelo a lot of credit and respect. Ahmed, what's going on? I hope you're well.
Yeah, well, how are you?
Yeah, good. What have you made of what we've talked about so far? Canelo said he prefers a Charlo fight over Golovkin.
That's a good thing to do, I think. I would do the same if I was Canelo, because if you think about it, first fight with Golovkin, it was close. I give the first fight to Golovkin just by a whisker. Second fight, I had Canelo winning, and couple of 2-3 years on now, I see Canelo as being a clear winner, and I don't really see any point in a third match, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. I'd agree with you. So, how do you see the Charlo fight? Do you think that's a lot more dangerous fight for Canelo than the Golovkin one?
Yeah, it's a much more of a challenge. Jermal Charlo is physically very strong, and I think can take a good punch as well. And
Right.
I think it'll be a good scrap, that, and a good
Yeah.
challenge for Canelo to get on his resume.
Why do you think Canelo mentioned Jamal's name over Golovkin, or he said he'd rather fight Charlo over Golovkin?
Because well, whoever thinks that's a wrong thing to what you call it do, because
Mm.
if he turned around and said, I want to fight Golovkin over Jermal Charlo,
Mm-hmm.
people, what would people say? People say that he's ducking
Yeah.
Jermal Charlo. Whereas
Yeah.
what he said now, it makes sense. People can't say he's
Yeah.
ducking Golovkin, can you? Because
Yeah.
he's already edged him out over 2 legs.
Yeah. I agree. So it's smart from Canelo, isn't it? He's saying the right things. He's
He's
saying the
saying what
right.
he's supposed to be saying. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What do you think? Many people think David Benavidez is a guy that can beat him. What do you think about that?
I think with David Benavidez, in this sport, you've got to give it your 100%. And
Mm.
people like David Benavidez, obviously, I've heard his lifestyle outside of boxing. If you're doing what he's doing outside of boxing, you're not going to be able to beat a guy at the highest level, especially somebody like a pound for pound guy like Canelo. I think he'd just be a bit too sharp for him, and I think he'd be able to beat David Benavidez. I think because think
Fair enough.
about it, his lifestyle outside of smoking and weed and all whatnot, whatever we've heard about him,
Mm.
it's gonna catch up to him at the highest level.
Yeah. You've got a point. So let's talk about some of the other stuff as well. You're from the UK, Ahmed. So what did you make of DAZN's UK commentary team?
And I've actually, is it that woman in or something?
Yeah. Which one? The one that's hosting it?
Yeah, Maya, or whatever she's called.
Yeah. Maya Jama, and then there's Laura Woods and Darren Barker. There's I think Chris Lloyd, and then there's Mike Costello, Andy Lee. What do you make of that commentary team? Because it's been a big talking point, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's a decent it's a good, decent team, that.
Yeah.
Good blend. Eddie knows what he's doing as well, innit?
Yeah. Andy Lee, he's quite good, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, Andy Lee's really good. Like I like him as a What about Paulie Malignaggi? Would you like to see him like?
Yeah, you know what? I think I'd like to see somebody like him, somebody who knows the game inside out, and who's been there and done it, and he's got a lot of boxing knowledge and that. I'd like to see somebody like him, very enthusiastic, passionate about the game.
Yeah, and he says it how it is as well, and he says the truth.
Definitely, man. He says whatever he believes, whatever's in his heart. He's not.
Yeah.
He's not one of them, sly one.
Yeah. What do you make of what was I gonna ask you? I was gonna ask you about Gervonta Davis and Josh Taylor and Lomachenko. Who do you think Gervonta Davis should fight next? He obviously went to 140, beat Barrios. What's next for Gervonta?
As fight fans, you want to see him fight the best, to be honest with you. And I think Josh Taylor should be the next fight he should target. If he thinks he's a world beater, you know what I mean, he should target Josh Taylor. Anything less than that, it's showing, that he's not really gonna be a world beater, World beater. They can big him up as much as they want, but fans will know, hardcore fans know, what he should be doing next. And if he's moving back down from 140 as well, unless he fights with Lomachenko. But with the way they're going, I think they're going to look for these easy options, and that's going to waste his sort of prime. I think, with the way I think he's going to be mismanaged, with the,
Mm.
with the way they're going.
What do you make of Nooney?
I think he should take charge of his own career. The way like Roy Jones did. Took charge of his own career. Sometimes when people tell you what to do, and if you think you're good enough, you should make your own decisions as well.
What do you make of Nooney's comment here? I know we're going off what we were talking, but we'll come back to it. In recent days, he has said Errol, Charlo, and Beterbiev and Benavidez, I'm willing to bet money out them names. He would only fight two of them, Charlo and Beterbiev. He don't want that Benavidez smoke. What do you make of that? What do you make of Nooney's comment that Canelo doesn't want that Benavidez smoke? A lot of people think Benavidez is a problem. A lot of people think Benavidez' size, his strength, his hand speed could cause Canelo all types of problems. Do you think Canelo will avoid Benavidez, or do you think there's nothing to avoid with Benavidez? What do you make of it?
Fighting Beterbiev and Bivol is a bigger challenge than Benavidez. Although Benavidez will give him a good shot, a run for his money, but I think he'll fall short. So if he fights Beterbiev or Bivol, that's a level above Benavidez, isn't it? In quality.
Yeah. But Beterbiev is a monster right now.
If he doesn't fight Beterbiev and Bivol, and he starts calling out Spence for the next year and that, then that's not good, is it?
No.
But if he's gonna go to challenge Beterbiev and Bivol, then respect, man. He's creating a great legacy.
What do you think? Who do you think out of the two he should fight, Beterbiev or Bivol?
To be honest with you, I think Bivol's going to be more of a challenge compared to Beterbiev.
Who right now is light heavyweight?
Pardon?
Who's seen as the man as the light heavyweight? I don't think it's Bivol. I think it's Beterbiev.
Everybody's saying Beterbiev.
Yeah.
Everybody's saying Beterbiev, but we've seen them flaws in Beterbiev. Whereas Bivol,
I'm not saying you may think that Bivol beats Beterbiev. What I'm saying is, who is the boxing fans' perception as to the number one guy at light heavyweight right now?
Perception is Beterbiev, isn't it?
So that's what I'm saying. Do you think he should take that fight with Beterbiev, because he'll get a lot more credit if he beats him than beating a Bivol, just say?
Yes, If give the fight fans what they want to see, if most of them think Beterbiev's going to give him a better fight, then he should go for that. And by being a hardcore fan, watching boxing, a very close level, I think Bivol's that extra better footwork, movement. He's got the power. He doesn't let anything. He doesn't waste any shots, nothing like that. Very cute, and I think he'll have Canelo will have that respect for his punching power as well, and I think Bivol could just edge him out. Whereas Beterbiev, it'll be a fight that fans will love to see, because you know what Beterbiev bringing to the table, and you know what Canelo can do, and it'll be a proper scrap. It could swing roundabouts, and it'll be a fight where if it becomes a real, becomes a slugfest or whatever, Canelo will get a lot of respect if he comes out, a winner of that fight.
What do you make of people saying that Canelo should, Canelo and Spence? Do you think that's do you like that fight, or do you think that's just a crazy fight?
If they fight at 150, if Canelo can give something away and come down to like a 157 or something, 158, 157.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. I think it's 162, 163, they said.
Yeah, sip his own energy a little bit. Then fair enough. But if he's going to be strong, anything above 160 is very strong for Canelo, isn't it?
Yeah.
150 and above. Because he's not giving anything away unless he goes under 160. And I just think from Spence's point of view, obviously it'll be a big cash out for him, sort of thing. But for Canelo, it won't do him any good. at this stage, because he'll be wasting a sort of year of not flying a big name, like a Beterbiev, Bivol, or even Benavidez.
So do you think a name like Spence on his resume doesn't do anything for Canelo?
For the hardcore fans, it doesn't, because I can't see I can't see Spence beating Canelo at anything above 160 and above.
Yeah, I agree with you. I can't either. So do you think it's a case where people will say, "Oh, you brought up a smaller man and you beat on him"?
Absolutely.
So
Canelo knows that as well. He knows fans ain't gonna rate
why
him
do you think
if
he's calling for Spence then? Why see he's talked about Benavidez, Charlo, and then he also mentioned his trainer also mentioned Spence. Why are they mentioning Spence?
Spence, because he's become a bit of a name in boxing now, isn't it? And obviously 147 division has been a division for a while, and Spence has made a bit of a name there, and they're just shouting a name like that out, and possibly it'll be a good name for Canelo, but not a fight that anybody thinks that he's going to lose. It'll just be one of them. It'll be fooling the casual sort of thing, if you know what I mean.
Stephen, you there?
Yeah, I'm back. I'm back.
Yeah, Stephen. Well, Ahmed, I've been having a good chat with Ahmed, and Ahmed is basically saying that if Canelo fights Errol Spence, they'll be fooling the casuals, because obviously Errol Spence is not a 160 plus pound fighter. He's a fighter that's a 147. So it's a nothing kind of fight, and it's a fight where Canelo will be kind of like cherry picking, really, in a way. What do you make of what Ahmed had to say there?
Well, I mean, it's not he's not off. He's not far off with that. I happen to agree to a certain extent, and that's what we were saying before. I lost signal. That's pretty much what I was saying before I lost signal. Is that why send Errol Spence into a fight at 160 when he's acclimated within the range of 147? You know what I'm saying? He fought 152 in the amateurs, but he's just recently started to say that express his desire to go to 154. That wouldn't be right. That wouldn't be right. Basically, Canelo's doing this because Errol Spence has the name. Errol Spence has the biggest name in boxing aside from himself. He knows that's a massive payday.
Yeah, and it's a low risk fight as well for Canelo, isn't it?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So that's not good though, Stephen. That's not good for boxing. That fights. I know people think that fights like that are good because they're two big names. But when you put two big names, not from the same weight class, yeah, they're both great fighters in their own weight classes, but you're actually doing damage to the smaller guy. Because that smaller guy might go back down to his smaller weight class and not be the same. Do you know what I mean? And we've seen that in the past.
Yeah, he's damn near doomed if he does that. So I wouldn't advise if I was in Errol Spence's camp, I would say, hey man, look, champ. Hey man, look here, man. Canelo, he doing some sucker shit to you. He trying to get you into something. He's trying to get you to commit to something that you ain't ready for. Why don't you go ahead, if you want to move up, go to 154. It's a lot. I heard you say this the other day that it wasn't no killers at 154, but it is a bunch of killers at 154.
I don't think it's not the fact that they're not killers, Stephen. I think there's killers, but I don't think they got the name. That's the thing.
Yeah, they ain't got the name, but shit, when Spence gets to 154, everybody he's gonna elevate that weight class.
True. Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
So you got Jermal, Charlo there. Something's gonna happen when he move. I mean Jamel. Something's gonna happen when he decides to move up, because he gonna move up. And I can predict it. I'm like a fortune teller. I could say this: him and Jamel gonna end up getting into it, and Jamel gonna branch out, get his own trainer, because he's already enlisted the help of I can't think of his name.
Ronnie Shields.
No. Ronnie Shields trains Jamal Charlo. Jamel is trained by Derek. Derrick
Oh,
James,
Derrick James. Yeah, Derrick James. Yeah.
but Jermal just recently enlisted the aid of damn, I can't forget, I can't believe I can't remember his name, but he's a former fighter, a former good fighter too, Puerto Rican. Um, and he's kind of like shown traces of him wanting to choose this other guy over Derrick James. So you can see the dissension already starting to form in its infancy right now. It's an infant stages now. But soon as Earl Spence gets to 154, shit, man, they're gonna have to get him up, and that'll be a good fight. A fight between Houston and Dallas and the Texas demographic. It'll be astronomical.
Yeah, I would love to see that fight, but I just don't see at the minute. I just don't see the way they talk about each other. The way I don't know whether that'll ever happen. I hope what you're saying is right, though, Stephen, because I would love to see that.
Also, Imran, what happens to Spence if he goes there and gets, pasted off Canelo at 164? What does that do for him going forward?
Yeah, true. Yeah, Stephen, Ahmed makes a good point there.
It'll be the same thing. They'll say that Earl Spence was beaten by the greatest fighter of the last 10 years, Canelo Alvarez, and Earl Spence will assume Canelo's. It's just he'll assume Canelo's position, because that's the same thing that happened to Canelo. Canelo was one of the more highly touted fighting prospects, and when he got beat by Floyd, it didn't do anything but set him up for the Canelo that we know and love today. Same thing happened to Earl Spence.
But the thing is with Floyd, Floyd was smaller than Canelo. Errol's bigger, so he could. I mean, Canelo's bigger than Errol, so he could do serious damage to him health-wise or physically.
You keep saying that, Imran, but Spence is a gangster, man. Spence is. I mean, he ain't finna sit. He ain't finna get moonwalked over like Michael Jackson. He ain't finna get pummeled. I mean, he can hold his own, man. I'd be comfortable with Earl Spence Jr. with me any day, no matter how many dudes in the car or whatever. I know he's gonna be able to hold his own. He ain't finna get ran over by Canelo. He might get beat, but it won't be like that. Earl Spence is durable. You know this, Amaran.
Yeah, the thing is, durable at 147 and durable at 160 plus is a big difference, man.
So you know what you do, Iran? This is what you do, okay? You kind of like, and don't get mad at me, Ahmed. I'm just saying, but you kind of like Ahmed is with your boy Bud Crawford. You like that with Canelo. You know what I'm saying? And I get it. They both good fighters, but they still human at the end of the day. Canelo ain't finna break. He broke Billy Joe. He broke Billy Joe Saunders' eye socket. That ain't happening to Earl Spence Jr. Never. Word up.
Well, also, I think in this situation, if Errol Spence is serious about taking an offer like Canelo, he needs to get Canelo out of his comfort zone as well. So bring Canelo down to 157, tip his energy, and what you call it, then go for it.
But Canelo's not going to do that, is he?
But if Spence, but Canelo needs to get out of his comfort zone for somebody like Spence at least, because 164 you're just stretching Errol Spence, and he's coming down from like 170 or 170 anyway. So fighting at 164 is more or less going to be like just slightly coming below his walk weight.
I agree.
Yeah.
Make his ass come down. I mean, fight at catch weight. Meet me in between.
That's the thing, Stephen. That's what we were saying earlier. That you just said that Canelo's the A side, so he's going to try to do everything in his advantage. So he's not. I don't think he's going to come down. That's the problem.
Yeah, he ain't gonna come down. I mean, so right now we just speaking of hypotheticals. You know what I'm saying? We just we just kind of throwing something out there to see if it sticks. But I don't think that fight happens for a long time.
Yeah. I hope it doesn't, because I think Spencer's got a lot of unfinished business at 147 still.
Yeah, and now he talking about going up to 154. I'm like, man, you don't need to go up to 154 right now. Fight, Bud Crawford. You know what I'm saying? Fight Keith Thurman at least.
But Stephen, we already know the situation with Bud Crawford. That fight ain't gonna happen, man. That fight ain't happening.
That's sad.
It's sad, but
who's ducking who though?
I don't know, man. Like Steven's more of a Spence fan than Crawford. You're more of a Crawford fan. So I let you guys, have a back and forth. But I'm just giving you my take on this, right? I don't think
Mr. Canelo fan.
Spence isn't scared of Crawford, and Crawford isn't scared of Spence. But the fact of the matter is, right now, we got a situation where Crawford wants 50-50. Steven mentioned this a time ago, that when you got a job and you're getting paid 30 grand, you can't go to your employer and ask for 100 grand if you're not worth that. Do you know what I mean? Crawford right now is in a situation where he can't get any of the top welterweights in the ring with him. His profile is dropping. He's not fighting. He's inactive, right? He needs that big fight. He's getting older. His prime is passing him by. And Crawford and Spence, right? Crawford and Spence needs to happen. But the problem is, Bud Crawford isn't going to give. He's going to hold his ground for 50-50. If Spence fights Pacquiao, Spence becomes an even bigger star. If he beats Pacquiao, his resume becomes even better. It's going to be impossible, man. It's going to be impossible to make the fight. And I just don't think Crawford's going to agree to anything less than 50-50. So I don't think the fight happens, even if Crawford goes to PBC.
I mean, when Crawford was a nice thin 140 pounder and became undisputed champion, and when there was talk about the fight with Spence demanded that he come up and win a world title at 147.
Yeah.
And that was the deal first initially. And Crawford went and destroyed Jeff Horn. And after that, Spence, what happened after that?
What happened after that? Then Spence beat Sean Porter and became unified after beating Kell Brook, and then he beat Danny Garcia, and now he's looking to fight Manny Pacquiao. So you gotta give it Spence. Spence is fighting the best guys at 147 now. The only guy that he hasn't really fought.
And I hate to say this. I hate to say this, and it pains me to say it. It breaks my heart to say it, but Terrence Crawford, and I love Terrence Crawford. There's. Let me say this real quick. There isn't one fighter on the face of this earth that I don't love. I have different qualms with each fighter, but there's not a fighter that I just don't like. I love every fighter, and I love Bud Crawford, but it seems to me, he's running out of excuses now. I mean, there's always something with him, and I wish it wasn't that way, because he's a hell of a talent. But go ahead.
Yeah, but Stephen, when you give another man your word, when you tell him what to do, and you gave your word to somebody, and he goes on to do what you've told him to do, then you might step up and be a man and say, you know what, right, let's make the fight. You've done what I asked of you. So why did Spence not want to push for that fight then, when Crawford was banging on the door at that time? Before the fight, Spence was saying, yeah, and Crawford just done what he was supposed to do. And don't you think they should have made that fight happen then? And that was on Spence, innit?
I mean,
the ball was in Spence's court.
Well, I think Spence made it clear. I thought his first priority was to try to unify the division. And now that he's one step closer to that, and they tried to make the fight a couple of different times. I don't know, man. That's what I'm saying. I think you have a good point, man. And I see everything you see in Bud Crawford. That dude is pound for pound one of the best fighters on the planet Earth. But for some reason or another, they just can't hook him up. I'm more inclined to think that it's a little bit more Bud Crawford and his count than Earl Spence, and I really don't know, to be honest with you. It's gotten out of hand.
Yeah.
Thing is, when Ahmed says that, Spence Crawford did everything that he Spence asked for, but that didn't include the split though. Do you understand? That didn't include saying that I'm going to give him 50-50. That's the stumbling block of making this fight. It's the split. It's the fact that Terence Crawford feels it should be 50-50, and what's his name? Errol Spence doesn't think it should be 50 period. Errol Spence thinks it should be 60-40 and 70-30. What do you think, Ahmed, on the financial side of things? Let's talk about the financial side of things. What do you think should be the split?
First of all, when Spence said win a world title at 147, no money, no financial deals. Nothing. He said nothing about finance then. When he beat Jeff Horn, after that, and beat your Amir Khan, then Spence started talking about money, saying 70-30 and 60-40. I mean, what's that meant to be, really? Because Spence might be the biggest star attraction, but he's not that much bigger, and Crawford's achieved more in the game, and you should just give
So you think it should be 50-50 then?
I think it should be 50-50.
Really?
So me and you, okay, I'm Walmart, and what do y'all have I'm trying to think of a German store. Tesco, and you're Tesco, okay, or what it was called. What about Aldi's? Y'all got Aldi's?
Yeah, Aldi's. Yeah, we got Audi.
Aldi's is pretty big. They pretty big.
Yeah,
okay.
We got Audi.
So, okay, I'm Walmart, and you are Tesco or Aldi's. Walmart's a little bit bigger than Tesco, right?
Yeah.
But we had this one product. Hold on, let me cut this shit off. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, so
okay.
Yeah,
so
go on.
we got this product that we want to market. And you saying you Tesco, and you saying, well, Steve, we need to, Walmart, we need to market this. So what person is best for marketing this? Who has I have a big name, but you really have a global name. You can reach a whole lot more people. The burden is gonna be on me. I'm gonna have more of the say so in it because I have a bigger name. Terrence Bud Crawford, he's Tesco, he's Aldi's. I'm Walmart. Errol Spence is Walmart. He has the leverage. The leverage. For peace sake, he has the leverage, Ahmed. Do you agree, Imran?
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. I initially thought the fight should be 50-50, back like 6 months to a year ago. But I even now, and I hate to say it, Stephen. I have to, even though I have to be non-biased. I don't see this fight as a 50-50 fight anymore. I think Spence has overtaken Bud Crawford, and I think he's making a lot more money than Bud Crawford now. I think Spence is making tens of millions of dollars, whereas I don't think Bud Crawford is making that kind of. We know Bud Crawford is making $4 to $7 million a fight. We know that, but Spence is making far more now, and his social media platform, his name is growing, his brand is growing. Unfortunately, I don't see this fight as a 50-50 fight. And on that note, I want to bring in Mike. How are you, Mike?
I'm doing good, man. How's everybody doing?
All What's good, up, man. All good, man. We're all good. We're all
What's
good.
What's up, Steven?
What do you make of what we're talking about? About, Steven talking about Walmart.
I just jumped.
Audi and
I just jumped in, so I'm not sure. Sure. I kind of heard a little bit. You guys are debating the Crawford Spence, right?
Yeah. About the split and about whether it should be 50-50, whether Spence deserves the lion's share. What's your take on it?
I think what will make the fight, it's a 50-50 split. What I think they deserve, I think it's probably more of a 55-45 Spence type of split for Spence.
Right, okay.
60-40, I don't think that's realistic. I don't see Crawford at any point agreeing to something like that.
Right, okay. But do you think Spence would agree to 55-45? Because he's talked about 60-40 or 70-30.
No, I think he would. I think if you follow their back and forth, I think part of the reason why Spence said 60-40 is because of what he heard Crawford say. So it kind of got to him like ego-wise. It kind of hurt his pride a little bit. So he was like, hell no, I'm not going to fight him. I'm not going to give him 60. I deserve 60. So it should be 60-40 on my side. But I don't think that they've gotten to the point where like they're taking the fight like where like they're it's not at that point already where like they're going to the table and actually negotiating the fight. I think they're going back and forth. They're trying to promote the fight. They're talking their shit, but I don't think they're it's a serious situation yet. If they went to the negotiations and Bob Arum was actually serious about making the fight, and Spence handlers were serious about making the fight, I think that they would agree on a 55-45 split for sure.
Right. Steven?
I think if
So yeah. So Mike, you saying basically, and that's what you're saying is the most pragmatic outcome. It's the most logical outcome. It's the most sensible outcome. And I do agree with you. I think if it really called for it, just for the sake of making a fight, I think Spence would lower his standards a little bit. But it's not gonna. I'm like you, Imran. I right now I'm starting to think that this fight ain't gonna happen. It's not gonna happen, and it's due in part to Bud Crawford's his side of the thing. Man, go ahead.
But then Spence should have said that from the beginning. That first of all, the split's going to be this. He's got to beat Jeff Horn. He's got to win the world title at 147. He never said that to start with. All he demanded first was him beating, getting a world title at 147. Now, I think if Spence now goes and just say if he stops Manny Pacquiao, and then I think then he'll have a bit of a leverage there, and I think Crawford wouldn't let him have more than 55%. I think that'd be the minimum.
What?
Yeah.
You don't think Crawford will let him have more than 55%?
Yeah, I don't think Crawford would. He'd have to make a real statement against Manny Pacquiao. Like if he stopped Manny Pacquiao and really put on a show, and then going into negotiations, if they came halfway, I think like 55-45. That makes sense.
You know what, Stephen, Mike, Ahmed? I actually don't think Bud Crawford would budge to 45%. I actually think that Bud Crawford has an ego to the point where he feels, I've achieved a lot in boxing. I'm an undisputed champion. I've 3-weight world champion. I'm not taking anything less than 50-50 because Bud Crawford is content with where he's at. Bud Crawford is making $4 to $7 million a fight. He's content with what he's doing in boxing. He's content with what's happening. He don't care who he's fighting as long as he's making $4 to $7 million a fight. So he's not like he's on the child support or something, or he's in a situation where he needs the dough. Otherwise, he's in a beautiful position. He's comfortable. He's making a lot of money every fight. I don't think he really cares about legacy because he's already stated, I'm going in the Hall of Fame. He goes, what I've achieved. He goes, there's fighters in the Hall of Fame that have achieved half of what I've achieved. So he's thinking, I don't care. I'm not taking anything less than 50-50 because I feel disrespected. I don't need Spence. I'm making $4 to $7 million a fight. I don't need him. To that, what do you guys think?
I think this fight for Spence changes a lot of things though, because there's always been a debate on who sells more. But in my opinion, I've always felt that they were around the same in terms of popularity. So I know that Crawford, if you look at the numbers, Crawford sells less than Spence, right? But the opposition, the fighters that you face play a massive role. So Errol Spence has been able to fight Danny Garcia. He's been able to fight Sean Porter. That automatically is going to get you more money or more pay-per-view sales or more ratings, whatever you want to, however you want to put it. Crawford hasn't had a name even on that caliber, not even close. If Crawford faced Danny Garcia, I guarantee you he would do similar numbers to Errol Spence. But what's happening now with Errol Spence, this is a game changer for Errol Spence. And it's a game changer because with Manny Pacquiao, he has a chance to potentially get close to a million pay-per-views. And now if he does that, then all of a sudden, what is Crawford going to say now? He has no say.
Mike, can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a
Yes.
question? If Errol Spence fought Amir Khan when Terence Crawford fought Amir Khan, do you telling me that fight doesn't do bigger numbers than Terence Crawford and what Amir Khan did? Do you not think?
If we're talking about the same Amir Khan, right?
Yeah, the same Amir Khan that Terence Crawford fought.
Right. If he makes, let's say, so how many? What were the exact numbers that he made with Crawford? Do you know?
They said it was between 150 to 170,000 pay-per-view buys.
Okay, if Crawford, let's say Crawford does make more than Crawford,
yeah,
it's no more than 300K. So we're talking about
more though. That's almost double, Mike.
Yeah,
if he makes 300, though, I'm saying if he makes 300, I'm saying he does not make more than 300. In my opinion, if he makes more than that, it's around 200, 250 max, in my opinion. And to me, that's just not a big enough gap for someone to say it's going to be 60-40. A big enough gap would have to be something around 500K for someone to ask that much, because we've seen fights made where there's a huge gap. I mean, let's look at the Triple G Canelo situation. When the fight was first going to be made, Triple G wanted 45% of the purse split. When Triple G had made 150K max, and Canelo Alvarez had done 2 million with Floyd Mayweather. He did 800K with Cotto. He did I think 700K with Amir Khan, and yet Triple G wanted 45, almost a 50 split, and that's one of the reasons why Canelo Alvarez vacated the title. So when we're talking about a difference of 100K, that's, to me, that's not that wide for someone to ask for 60% of the purse split, bro. That's not that big of a gap, in my opinion.
You made some great points there, Mike.
All right, here's the thing. Here's the thing. The other day when I was on a live stream, I don't know if you had a chance to hear it, Mike, but they asked me, how popular do I think Terence Crawford is? I think in terms of popularity, you're from the States, I'm from the States. Terence Crawford is known here. I'm not so sure that he's known overseas and in the UK like that, like an Errol Spence. And I'm almost confident that if you take Imran poses a very good question, if you had that same Amir Khan, and that fight was against Errol Spence, I think the numbers goes up exponentially. I think there's a big difference in the ticket sales. So while he's a name over here in the States, I think Errol Spence is more widely known. He's more widely known than Terence Crawford. He just has the leverage in terms of coming from a business standpoint, not from a fighter standpoint, not from an achievement standpoint, but just merely a business standpoint. He has the leverage.
Well, I'll say two things here real quick. Achievement standpoint, I don't even think is that wide either, to be honest with you, in my opinion, because even though I think Crawford has achieved more, clearly Errol Spence has faced better opposition and he's beat better opposition. So we could have a debate on that too. But to me, the Amir Khan example, I don't think it's a good example. I would rather use an example like a Danny Garcia, because if they fight, they're gonna fight here in the United States. It's gonna be Crawford versus Errol Spence, and it's gonna be in the United States. So the UK is not as relevant in this case. So if we take what Crawford, with Errol Spence made with Danny Garcia, how much did they make? Wasn't it around 300K?
I think so. Something around there.
Oh, all right. So 300K. So if you're telling me Crawford made 150K against Amir Khan, you mean to tell me that if Crawford didn't fight that same version of Danny Garcia, they couldn't make 300K?
Here in the States, but I'm talking about abroad.
Here's the thing, though, Mike. Here's my point on this. Although, don't get me wrong, Danny Garcia, when Errol Spence fought him, was more credible than Amir Khan was fighting Terence Crawford, because Danny Garcia was considered a top welterweight, whereas Amir Khan was considered washed up and past his best. My point is, I don't believe Danny Garcia's a name-wise. I don't believe he's I don't think he's bigger than Amir Khan at all. By the way, from a name point of view, from a selling point of view, I don't think even Sean Porter is.
He's not. But if we were talking about Amir Khan 5 years ago, then I would agree with you. You're using the example of an Amir Khan that nobody wanted to see anymore. This isn't like the Amir Khan that Canelo fought, for example.
True.
This isn't the guy that Canelo fought, or even the guy prior to that, the Amir Khan that was still kind of coming up, that wasn't losing, was still winning big fights, etc., etc. This is a way past prime Amir Khan, who's lost multiple times, who's been knocked out multiple times, who as a matter of fact, in my opinion, when you see that fight against Crawford, you could argue, and I'm not questioning Amir Khan's heart, because he's proven himself, but I kind of feel he quit in that fight.
Yeah. It looked. Yeah, I agree. I agree. But what I'm talking, I still think. But here's what I'm trying to say. I still think his name. I know what you're saying, and you make 100% great points there, and I do agree. But I still felt his name held enough value for them to be able to sell it. Well, they did sell and promote it. The fact is, if the fight wasn't that big, all of other Terence Crawford fights have been on normal subscription TV, but that fight was on pay-per-view. So they obviously thought that his name held some value for them to put it on pay-per-view. No other point.
It's because the problem is that's all they have, Imran. That's all they have. They Top Rank has no other option. If they had other options, they probably would choose someone else. But they have no other options. They've been trying to get the Pacquiao fight. They couldn't get the Pacquiao fight. So if you don't have a Danny Garcia, if you don't have a Sean Porter, if you can't make those fights, who are you going to look for? You're going to say, well, let's see who's out there who has a name, at least, even if they're past their prime. And if that's all we got, let's put it out on pay-per-view, and whatever we make from that, then that's better than nothing. That's the way
Amir Khan's name, once you make your name, it's set in stone. That's the reason why that Roy Jones Jr. and Mike Tyson fight went sold so much. Yeah, it was basically done out the back of Mike Tyson, who would have been the A side, but he did it with a great fighter, one of the greatest fighters to ever have lived in Roy Jones. Amir Khan's name is global. It's global. Amir Khan can walk in any gym here, and everybody will know him. Whereas I don't think the same with Danny Garcia overseas. If Danny Garcia goes into a gym in Bangladesh, they ain't gonna know Danny Garcia. They may know Terence Crawford, but they're not gonna know Danny Garcia. So in terms of just having a name just to mark it off of, we just talking about the market.
I agree with you to a certain extent, dog. I think that if you ask hardcore fans, if you're talking about hardcore fans, and Errol Spence is out there in the UK, and they're probably gonna know who he is, but the common folk, they're not gonna know who Errol Spence is, just like they're not gonna know who Crawford is, not in the UK. shit, they won't even know who they are here in the States, bro. Some, unless you're a hardcore fan, or you're like a half casual, half hardcore, you're gonna know who Crawford is. You're gonna know who Spence is, because Crawford has been at the top of the pound for pound list for years already. He's been in discussions. He's been on ESPN platform. That's a huge platform. The problem with Crawford is that the dude can't sell, bro. That's the problem. And part of the reason is because he doesn't have a dance partner.
But
I know.
That's what we're saying, Mike. That if, for example, that's why I keep going. That all of his fights have been on subscription, apart from Postal, which did 30,000 pay-per-view buy or something. It did something really poor, 40,000 or something. It did really poor. The only big pay-per-view fight he's had that did any kind of numbers, even that wasn't great, was the Khan fight. So that's what I'm trying to say to you, is that are you saying that if they had Danny Garcia or they had Sean Porter, that he would have done 350? I don't think so. That's why
I think Danny Garcia is capable of bringing 100K into that fight.
Oh yeah, 100K.
So that makes it almost 300 though. That makes it 300.
No, I reckon the same numbers as what the Khan fight did. I don't think it. The reason why Bob Arum's not willing to pay those guys. See, here's the thing, Mike. When Bob Arum did the Amir Khan fight, right? That fight was a loss. So Bob Arum wasn't willing. What you got to realize is Danny Garcia is going to ask for the same amount of money that Amir Khan did. Sean Porter's going to want okay, Sean Porter's not that big a name, although he's a very credible fighter. He may ask for less. He may ask for a little less. The problem is, Mike, the pay-per-views are lost. So when they did the Khan fight, Bob Arum did his conkers, right? So now he's thinking, I'm going to have to pay these guys same money, but I'm not making no profit. I'm not making no money, right? So Bob Arum wasn't going to make that same mistake again that he did with the Khan fight, because he saw that, like you said, Crawford doesn't sell, right? So doing a Danny Garcia fight, do you think it's going to move the needle that much? Where, remember, if Danny Garcia asks for 6-7 million and Crawford asks for 6 million, right? That's 12 million. You need to generate that from somewhere. Where are you going to generate that money from pay-per-view buys? But this man's doing 150, 200, even 300 is a loss. It's a loss. So you're asking to pay these guys a lot of money, but they're not able to recoup that money. Do you see where I'm coming from, Mike?
No, I get you. I agree with all that.
It's all about the almighty dollar. Would you want the guy that is holding 100K in his hands, or the guy that's holding 500K in his hands? It's all about about profit and trying to turn a profit. You know, it's hard to do that.
I agree with all that. The thing here, the debate here, or the thing that we're trying to figure out is it's a hypothetical, really. It's not. It's based on only what we've seen. So it's not about. I don't look at this as like a right or wrong situation. I just think that Errol Spence has faced fighters that have bigger names in their moment, at like where the fights actually mean a lot more. Crawford has had some big fights with in terms of like legacy, I guess, like a Postal or whatever, unification fights, etc. But they're not right, Gamboa. But these guys are not on the Danny Garcia, on the Keith Thurman, on the Sean Porter level, where unless we saw Crawford, let's say if Crawford faced one of those guys, right, and then he made 150K, then there would be no debate. But we're assuming that based on him facing Amir Khan, and because of Amir Khan's reputation in the past, and what we know of Errol Spence, we're giving Errol Spence the benefit of the doubt. Could you guys be right? Yes, you guys could be right, but we're not 100% sure. And I think that the gap between both is not that wide, is not that great for us or for me to just assume that Amir Khan or that version of Amir Khan would certify that, would make that concrete, that if Crawford fought Danny Garcia, they wouldn't be able to make 300K. I'm not so sure about that because it's
But
not
here's
that
the
big of
thing.
a gap
Here's
for
the
me.
thing. When you say that Keith Thurman and all those guys, you think they would do big numbers with Crawford? You think they do about how much do you think? 300,000?
See that thing. See, to me, those are not big numbers. I don't look at them as big numbers.
Oh yeah, they're not big. But what apart from the Pacquiao fight, what big numbers has Keith Thurman done?
Just the same. He's done the same numbers that we're talking about, right? He did how much did he do with Danny Garcia? 300 probably, right?
Was that on pay-per-view? I can't even
Oh,
remember
I'm
if
not
that
sure.
was. That might have not. I
I'm
don't
not
even know
sure.
if that was on pay-per-view, Mike. So this is what I'm
It
saying.
might not
that
have been. It might not have been.
These guys are not like these guys. This is what I'm saying. That here's the thing: they're credible welterweight fighters. All of the names that you're taking, but I still doubt how big names they are in America. There's a reason. There is an American pay-per-view star right now. There isn't a guy that I look at and think, wow, he's a Canelo or he's a Floyd or he's a Mike Tyson.
Definitely
There's no one
not.
right now, really. Let's be honest. Errol Spence is that next guy that possibly could be. Wilder was potentially a guy that could be. But, you know, that didn't work out. The Wilder obviously lost to Fury and things have not gone too well for Wilder of late. Maybe if he beats Fury, he might turn around.
They're trying to make it so they're trying to build the next machine, and it's going to be out of three people. It's going to be out of Deontay Wilder, and that's contingent upon whether or not he's victorious, or they want Gervonta to do it. Gervonta's the Titan, but the most promise is with Spence. He's the most
well, let me ask this question. Let me ask this question. Who?
Go ahead.
If Crawford fought Pacquiao, how many pay-per-views you guys think they would sell?
Who?
If Pacquiao fought Crawford, if you guys have any guess,
500.
Okay, that's my
point. Yeah.
500, right? So let's say Crawford fights Pacquiao. Let's say he gets the fight. Errol Spence doesn't get the fight. They make 500. Now what happens?
That's off of Pac-Man's name, man. They doing out the strength of Pac-Man. They ain't doing out.
Oh, you're right, bro. But the matchup is what's going to generate part of that 500, bro. It's not all going to be Pac-Man. It's not all going to be Pac. If you put Pac-Man with what's his face or what's the guy he lost to? I can't remember his name. The guy he lost to, where they said it was controversial.
Jeff
Horn. If they do a pay-per-view fight, you think that's going to sell 500? Hell no, bro. Come on.
No, it's not. No way. It's not. But okay, why? So there's a reason why Pac-Man he picked Errol Spence as opposed to, because Terrence Crawford wanted that fight. He wanted that fight, but he picked Errol Spence because Errol Spence has the bigger name. There's more of a. It made more sense economically.
But there's another reason too, because there's no real promoter involved right there. So Top Rank isn't getting a piece of that fight. The problem with Crawford and Pacquiao, bro, is that Top Rank has to get a percentage of the fight. They have to get a piece of the pie. So if they don't get, it's kind of like what Imran was saying earlier. If they don't feel it's enough, then they're gonna pass on the fight, bro.
And Mike, they did the numbers and they determined that it didn't make sense for them to explore that fight at this time. That's what they said. So they said, "Fuck it, we'll pass. We'll pass on it." You know what? I don't really think it's that difficult. It's not that difficult to understand, and it's just the reality of the climate of the way things are happening in boxing now. They're building select few fighters, and they were building Terrence Crawford. But you know what? Terrence Crawford's so lazy and so lackadaisical and so content with just being mediocre that he's not had the chance to elevate like Spencer. He put in the work, man. He's done all the things that is asked of anybody to start to do. So I just think, man,
Spence deserves that.
Yeah, I mean, and we could talk about it till the cows come home, but the fact of the matter is that Errol Spence has the bigger name. Thus, he's the bigger star. Thus, he has the bigger the larger amount of leverage. He can negotiate with them, and they can talk turkey. They gonna tell him no. You gonna tell Errol Spence no and not make that Manny Pacquiao fight? That's all
Guys, I want to
everybody's
ask
been
you a
talking about
question.
is that fight.
But Imran, I've got one question. I'm sure Errol Spence against Mikey Garcia was on free television here in the
No, it
UK.
wasn't. No, it wasn't. It
I'm
was
sure it
on
was on
pay-per-view.
ITV4.
No,
ITV4.
it was on pay-per-view, man. That did good numbers. That did big numbers. Just a quick question to all of you, right? It said Last Bell Boxing Chat says, let's have it right. What has Aram done for Fury's profile? He has self-promote. Eddie Hearn would make Terence Crawford a superstar here and across the UK. Mike, Stephen, Ahmed, what's your thoughts?
He sure would, man. He'll make that motherfucker so big of a star that it wouldn't even be funny. Look at what he's doing with Devin Haney, Devin the Dream Haney.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Devin the Dream Haney is known over there in the UK.
But in the UK here, I think in the UK, Crawford's rated more than Spence and better known, I think, because he's beat a Scottish fighter in Ricky Burns.
But Errol Spence beat Kell Brook in front of his own people, in front of 40,000.
That was huge.
Crawford's beaten Amir Khan. Crawford's beaten Amir Khan and Kell Brook and Ricky Burns. Talk about Josh Taylor fight as well. So,
but see, that's a good point. That's the reason why I've been arguing that I don't think it's that big of a gap. They're making it seem as if Crawford is like not a nobody, but like nobody knows Crawford. Trust me, dude. I mean, I'm in here in the States. He may not be as popular as Errol Spence in terms of sales and all that. It's not that wide, though. I know this for a fact. It's not that wide. Crawford is backed by ESPN, bro. That's a huge platform. That's a massive platform. Every time there's a debate on First Take, every time there's a debate about boxing, or Max Kellerman brings out, Max Kellerman has his own show. I forgot what it's called. Crawford's always at the forefront. Right. He's always brought up. Matter of fact, they had Crawford pound for pound #1 over Canelo for like 3 years straight. When the majority, when everybody else had Canelo #1. So they've been keeping his name alive for the longest. The problem with Crawford, like I said, it's unfortunate, man, because boxing is the only thing that I can compare with politics, man, where nothing makes sense. Nothing ever makes sense because there's no structure. So everything is based on who did you fight, how much did you sell, regardless of your talent, regardless of how good you are, or, it's all based on perception. It's based on this and this and that. I've been saying it. If Crawford fought Manny Pacquiao and he sold 500K, even though we would all know that if Errol Spence fought Manny Pacquiao, he would probably sell 500K or more. Crawford, just by fighting Pacquiao, he would be able to say, I've sold more than you. I fought Manny Pacquiao. I sold 500K. Therefore, I deserve 60%, 55%, 70%. And that's the problem. That we're never going to be able to come up with a perfect formula that's going to be able to tell us this guy deserves exactly this and this fighter deserves exactly that. So we're making a lot of, assumptions here and hypotheticals and all that about who's more popular, who is not, who sold more. But if Amir Khan this, but if he fought Pacquiao, but if he fought this guy, we're never really going to know. The only thing that I know for a fact is that the gap is not that wide, because we're not talking about 500K or a million type of pay-per-view gaps here. We're talking about 100K, 200K max. So in my opinion, even Errol Spence is not a cash cow. He just fought Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia has a huge following.
Yeah, he does. Yeah,
they didn't make 500K. They didn't make 500K. They made what, 350? I heard, or 300, something like that. So that tells you right then and there that even they couldn't generate, between both of them, they couldn't generate that much, that many pay-per-view sales.
So, Mike, what's the issue then? What's the issue? Is it an American thing? Is it a problem with the promotion that Crawford's got by Top Rank and ESPN? Are they not doing a good enough? What is the issue? Is it that he needs another promoter?
If I could put a percentage on things, I would say part of it is a promotion. Yes, no doubt about it. I think that Eddie Hearn right now, he's the top promoter right now. You know, it's kind of like a cycle. You know, you go through cycles, and you have one promoter, the trendy promoter. He's the guy right now. So maybe Bob Arum is not the man at this moment. But to me, the bigger issue is the opposition. If Top Rank had the Porters, the Danny Garcias, if he had those guys over there, Crawford probably would have fought all those guys, and then we wouldn't be talking about this right now. If you put Errol Spence with Top Rank, and you put Crawford with PBC, then we'd be talking about Errol Spence not getting a big fight either, because of the politics.
But here's the thing, Mike. They're talking about a Josh Taylor fight. They're talking about Zepeda. They're talking about, you know, those fights for you, or would you be happy with those fights for Crawford? Like if Crawford was to fight Taylor, for example, I know Zepeda.
Yes, Taylor would be it wouldn't just be his best win legacy wise, but I think it would be his best selling. If it's a pay-per-view or whatever they do with it, it's going to be the highest rated fight, no doubt about it. And then if he fights a guy like Taylor, depending on where they do it as well, I'm not sure, because I know if UK fans are watching, they you know the time are different. The times are different, so I don't know how we can compare, you know, peak times and stuff like that, because obviously the UK they would be having to watch it at what, 3 a.m, 2 a.m, who the hell knows. But let's say Crawford goes to the UK and they have that fight over there. You don't think that would sell out a stadium?
Yeah, in Scott. Yeah, Taylor. Here's the thing, though. Taylor's not that big here in the UK. Like, even though he became undisputed, his name's still not as big as it should be. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's still like Taylor did a pay-per-view here with Prograis, and that pay-per-view flopped in terms of numbers. This is why I'm saying that.
Okay.
I don't know whether that you know how you say it's going to be a massive pay-per-view in America. I don't know what numbers wise.
Well, not massive like Canelo massive. I just meant like for Crawford, that would probably be his biggest pay-per-view. It would be bigger than Amir Khan, I'm assuming.
Possibly, yeah. I honestly don't know how big Taylor is in America. You should know. You would know better. I don't know. Is he a big star?
No. I wouldn't consider him a big star, but because he's got hype right now, because of the win that he had, I think that would be that would be a perfect matchup right now. They need to take advantage of the hype around Josh Taylor, around exactly the situation, and then try to make that fight immediately. And that would be I think it would be a big fight for sure. I would think it'd be a big fight, because the way they could promote it as his biggest opponent, they would be fighting for all the belts again. So Crawford would be able to actually it would be a 147 fight. So I'm assuming, right? Yeah. So it wouldn't be for all the belts. So it would be for Crawford's belt.
Nevertheless, though, I think they'll sell out a stadium though in Scotland.
Yeah, but
Scotland for sure.
Here's the thing, Mike. Though Crawford's had reluctancy to go to other places.
Yeah, he won't.
I remember he was even had the reluctancy to go to fight Kell Brook in the UK, because they thought that fight wasn't going to be that big in America. So they thought, you know what, let's go to the like there was talks about him coming to the UK to fight Kell Brook, but Crawford was very dismissive and said, "Nah, I'm the champion. He's got to come to me."
No, you're right. He won't. There's no way he goes to Scotland. There's no way. I mean, he's already being a diva. Yeah, I'm actually an Errol Spence fan, so it kind of sounds like I'm supporting Crawford. You know, I like Crawford too, but I like Errol Spence. You know, on a personal level, I like Errol Spence more as a fighter. But this is not me like trying to go against Spence. It's just I just truly believe that the difference is the opposition that they fought. That's really the biggest difference. And the gap, even if Crawford fought Danny Garcia and Errol Spence still sold more, it still wouldn't be that big of a difference. We would be talking about in my opinion, it would be 100K or less. That would be the difference of the pay-per-view sales. I don't think it's that wide.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. You're saying that the pay-per-view difference 100K is neither here, neither there, even if it is.
At least not for anybody to ask for 60% of the purse split. That's the reason why I kind of felt that a 50-50 would make the fight. And I feel that Errol Spence, the deserving split would be 55-45 for Errol Spence. So that's kind of the gap that I'm talking about right there.
So Mike, from what you're saying, I obviously want to ask you, because you're in America, do you think that the fact that people are making out Spence is such a big star, because I'm just going off what I'm hearing off stateside, because obviously I'm not in the States. You would know better.
Right.
Do you think they're overhyping Spence's popularity and fame over there in the US, and he's not actually as big as what I and many people think he is? He's not actually as big or as that big as a soul fighter. So if Spence was to fight a nobody, he wouldn't be able to sell a stadium like Canelo can, or and do pay-per-view numbers like Canelo can at the minute.
Yes, that's gonna depend on the opponent. It goes back to, it's kind of like going back to the same thing, right? So yes, I think see, to answer your question, I think Errol Spence is rated exactly what he's rated. I don't think he's overrated or underrated. I think the numbers speak for itself. He sold 300 against Danny Garcia. He sold 300 plus, slightly a little bit over 300 against Mikey Garcia. That's who he is. He's not a cash cow. He's not a mega superstar. But this is us talking about this right now. Once he fights Manny Pacquiao, the perception is going to change even more now. And that's kind of the point that I made 10 minutes ago or 15 minutes ago, that now he's going to have massive leverage, because now he took Manny Pacquiao away from Crawford. Crawford wanted Manny Pacquiao to be able to checkmate Errol Spence and say, oh, look, this is what I made with Manny Pacquiao. You've never made what I've made. But now that Errol Spence is going to get a chance to fight Manny Pacquiao, that fight for sure is going to make at least 500K. I agree with the estimate that we were talking about. So that's, Crawford is fucked now. I mean, he's completely fucked now, because now it's going to look like he really does deserve 60, maybe even more. It's going to look like he probably deserves 70% of the split now. So Crawford's in a fucked up situation now. The conversation we were having, though, this is pre Manny Pacquiao, just based on what we know now. So after Manny Pacquiao, I think we at this point, what is Crawford going to be able to say? He's going to have no argument at all whatsoever, because if that fight sells more than 500K, then now we're talking about doubling, tripling, maybe even 4 times the amount Crawford has ever made. So Steven might be right. Maybe that fight never happens now. Crawford's going to have to really put his ego to the side, or put his pride to the side, and say, you know what? I'm going to have to take 40% now, or even less, if I really want that fight. Or maybe like you said, Imran, maybe he's content. Maybe he doesn't give a shit, because now Errol Spence is now saying that after Manny Pacquiao, he already said that he's not going to consider Thurman because of what Thurman did to, he kind of blackballed or eliminated Errol Spence, right? He wanted to take the easier route. So he avoided Errol Spence, fought Danny Garcia, fought Porter, fought Pacquiao, fought even Josecito Lopez, and then he loses to Manny Pacquiao. So Spence doesn't want to give any attention to Thurman anymore. So Spence already said, after Pacquiao, I want Crawford, and if I can't get the fight, I'm going to move up. So that's it. It's over after that.
I think if Spence beats Pacquiao in spectacular fashion, I think Crawford will budge, but I think he won't budge much. He'll say, let's go down the middle, and you want 60-40, I want 50-50, but I'll give you 55-45. I think Crawford will still be a bit stubborn to give him 60, and I think Spence will become even stubborn anyway. That's going to be natural.
Yeah, but the thing is, Ahmed, like Mike just said that after he fights Pacquiao, and just say if that fight does 700,000-800,000 pay-per-view buys, and Spence makes $20-25 million from it, right? Now he's earned almost 4-5 times more than Crawford's ever earned, right? Crawford doesn't really have a leg to stand on.
But I've got a feeling, though, this is going to go on. I mean, if Crawford agrees to a 60-40, I think Spence will start pushing it to 70-30, which will be ridiculous then. And the fight will probably miss the fight.
Either way, honestly, if we think about it from a business perspective, either way, Crawford would be an idiot not to take the Spence fight, because even if he takes less, let's say they fight and he makes they make 600, 700K, whatever it is. So if Crawford fights Spence, that means Spence is probably going to be a bigger star now, a massive star.
Yeah.
Bigger than what he is now. especially
Yeah.
if he beats him in a spectacular fashion.
Hmm.
So if Crawford fights Errol Spence, even if he takes a 40% or 35, let's say he takes 35 or 40, it's still going to be his biggest payday. So he would be an idiot not to take the Spence fight. So it's really more about his ego at that point, and just accepting the reality of the situation.
But Mike, from what you've seen from Terence Crawford and his career and the way when he's asked questions in interviews, what makes you think that he's going to be willing to budge? Because I don't get the impression that this guy is going to be willing to budge. I just think he's a principle-minded guy that's going to say, no, I want 50-50 or the fight ain't happening. I just can't. This is why I don't think the fight's going to happen. And I've stated that for a very long time, because I actually was one where I said that it should be 50-50. But this was a year ago. Now I'm getting to the point where I'm saying, nah, this fight ain't no 50-50 anymore. Spence has separated himself a little, and if he beats Pacquiao and if that numbers does crazy numbers, Spence is taking himself to another level. I think then Spence does deserve the lion's share. I don't know what that split should be, but I do think it should be in his favor. But what I'm trying to point out, what makes you think that Crawford is going to be willing to accept? Because everything I've heard from Crawford so far suggests otherwise, suggests that he's already said, I'm in the Hall of Fame. I've done everything. I'm content. I'm this. So what makes you think he's going to be willing to budge when he's content with where he's at?
That was just an opinion. Like if kind of putting myself in his shoes, maybe I would still take the fight. But I agree with you 100%. I have no idea. I don't think he might not accept the fight. But this is another thing he might be able to do, or he might do. So instead of accepting the Spence fight, and once he gets out of his contract with Top Rank, then he might have. What in the world is that?
Guys, what is that? What's going on?
What's going on? Is that a machine gun or what? I just
I don't know. I don't know what that
was. So I can see Crawford getting out of, he's going to get out of his contract, and then maybe then he's going to try to get a fight with Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, Keith Thurman, and then he's going to try to make his money with those guys. And he'll probably avoid, like you said, he'll probably avoid Spence, and Spence is probably going to say, forget this, I'm just going to go to 154 and then look for bigger things.
Guys, if Crawford agrees to a 60-40 after Spence spectacularly beats Pacquiao, and Spence still says no, don't you think he'll be avoiding Crawford? Or do you think?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Makai, what's your opinion on it?
I think Spence is going to become even more stubborn. If he's already said 70-30 now, think about where his head's going to be when if he does beat Pacquiao spectacularly.
Yeah,
I think it's more his ego though. Like in other words, if just based on what I've seen from Spence, his career, he comes off. If I compared him to Crawford, I feel like Spence comes off more of as a no nonsense type of guy. I think that he's the type of dude that would sacrifice a lot more than Crawford. That's just what I think, just based on what I've seen. He's the type of guy that's even said, I'll move up to fight Canelo Alvarez. I don't give a shit. So,
yeah,
is who's a bigger diva? I don't know. I mean, that's the question, I guess. Who's a bigger diva? I'm not sure. I mean, but I would think he would accept a 60-40. Why not? But if he doesn't, I mean, I don't know. I guess who can blame him? I guess it depends on how much he makes with Manny Pacquiao. That's the question. We'll have to find out how much they make, and then we'll go based on that.
Mike, although you weren't here earlier on, we were talking about moving on from this Spence Crawford stuff, because this is gonna drag on, and I don't think I don't know whether this fight's ever gonna happen. I hope it does. But coming to a fight that I think possibly can happen, did you hear Canelo Alvarez's interview today? He said that he prefers a Charlo fight over Golovkin. Mike, what do you make of that?
Yeah, I think he's been saying that for the longest. He's been saying that in Spanish media as well. I mean, I speak Spanish, so
Right. Okay.
yeah, he's been saying that the whole Charlo ducking Charlo thing. That's been nonsense for years already. I mean, you have to. I think people need to understand that when you're in the position that Canelo's in, he's basically ducking everybody because everyone has everyone has their guy, So at one point he was ducking Callum Smith. At one point he was ducking Billy Joe Saunders. At one point he's ducking Charlo. He's ducking Andre. He's ducking Better Biev. So it depends on who's your guy, right? So if he doesn't fight your guy next, then he's ducking that guy, until he fights
they
him.
were saying he was ducking Billy Joe, weren't they? The fans,
They were saying he was
Billy
ducking
Joe had
Billy
all the
Joe
time.
because of his style, exactly because of his style. They were saying I even heard that he was ducking. This is mostly from UK fans though, not American fans, but UK fans. That he was ducking Callum Smith. I remember people saying that he was ducking Callum Smith. That Callum Smith would be a harder matchup than Billy Joe Saunders and this and that. So I mean that's just part of the game. It's not something that surprises me, but they've been saying for years.
It annoys me, Mike, because there's people pushing an agenda rather than giving Canelo his props, fighting the great fighters that he's fighting. And then when he beats them, Callum Smith was a bum and Billy Joe was a bum, and and then he ain't fighting the best American fighters, Andrade and Charlo when does it end? Then there's gonna be Belanga. Then there's gonna be someone else. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, it's never. It's like you said. It's never going to end. Even Reynoso, his trainer, he's always joking because he recently said that they're going to consider the possibility of maybe fighting a Better Biev or a Bibble, and then sarcastic. He's like, and after that, I don't know. They might want us to fight Joshua or Fury. Who knows after that because. It's getting to that point, it's ridiculous to the point where nobody's ever satisfied, So I think what Canelo's doing, man, he's doing the right thing. I feel like boxers, there's different ways to enhance your legacy, whether it's fighting the top guys, whether it's fighting in different weight classes, whether it's the amount of fights that you fight, whether it's unifying or being undisputed. There's different ways to enhance your legacy, and I feel like Canelo is doing. He's doing that. He's doing it in different ways. He fought the best guys at 154, win, lose, or draw. He fought Arislandy Lara. He fought Austin Trout. He fought Floyd Mayweather. At that time, those were the top guys. He fought them all. When he went up to 160, he fought the top two guys at that time. No question about it. Triple G twice. Daniel Jacobs as well. Nobody was thinking that Charlo was better than Danny Jacobs. Nobody was saying that Andre was better than Danny Jacobs or Triple G. So he fought the two top guys. You can't go back. Like, you can't say that he's ducking Andre when he fought the better guys. That doesn't make any sense. And now at 168, it's debatable. Sure, it's debatable. Some people might debate that Benavidez might be the toughest guy, right? But the Benavidez fight is still alive. He's not old. And if anything, it probably benefits Benavidez because he's going to get more experience. He's 25 years old, but if they fight next year, he's going to be 26. Canelo's, he's still, pretty young. He's going to be 31, 32. So that fight is still a great fight. The Charlo fight he's the same age as Canelo Alvarez. That fight is still a live fight. So it's just a matter of when. It's just a matter of time. That's really all it is. It's just a matter of time. So he's going to unify, hopefully, with Caleb Plant. And then once he gets that out the way, which is something, he's going to become undisputed, And once he gets out the way, which is something that no one's ever done, by the way. There's no Mexican fighter that's ever done that. And nobody's ever done that in that weight class. So that's going to be history in itself. And then after that, he might line up these guys in a row. Benavidez in fucking May. Who knows, Charlo in September or the other way around. And he might even throw in a Triple G there. Who knows? Or he might throw in a Bibble in between. Who the hell knows, But I just think that I'm not going to question Canelo Alvarez when I've seen what he's done in his career, dude. Until I see that he's not fighting the best guys. Like, I'm talking about like completely ducking a guy because people throw that word around all the time too, like, oh, he ducked this, he ducked that. To me, a duck has to be either a guy not fighting, two guys not fighting at all ever, or a fight not being made like past the expiration date or something. That's the only time when there's a duck for me.
Guys, styles make fights. Don't you think at 175, Bivol would be more of a trickier challenge for Canelo than Beterbiev?
You could be right, man. You could be right. I mean, it's to me the bigger issue with that weight class is that it goes beyond skills. There's a massive size advantage in that weight class. So Canelo's not just, this isn't just about, hey, who's better? Like when we talk about hypotheticals with like Andrade, oh, well, Andrade's tricky, this and that. Even if Andrade is naturally bigger, because he's like 6 feet tall, he's longer than Canelo, he might be naturally structurally bigger than Canelo Alvarez. 175 is a completely different weight class, dude. I mean, you're talking about guys who cut to make 175. Like there's guys out there that are like cruiserweights making 175. And we already know that Canelo Alvarez is really more of a middleweight, and he's maxing out at 168. So we have to consider the size difference here. There's a huge size difference here. In other words, it could be a guy at 175 who may not be as skilled as Canelo and could potentially beat Canelo Alvarez just on the size difference alone.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah, Bivol, Mike, is not that big a light heavyweight, because he said he's willing to come and fight Canelo at 168. So if he's willing to come down to super middleweight, then that means he's not that big a light heavyweight to come down. And
he's probably one of the smallest ones if you compare him to Beterbiev and what's his name? The other dude is pretty big too, I think, right?
Joe Smith. Yeah,
right.
I think Bivol's a better boxer though than Beterbiev. I think he's more. He's more.
Beterbiev could knock him out though, because Beterbiev's so strong and so big, and he's very powerful. So Beterbiev could easily knock Bivol out. Yeah, he might be the more skilled fighter, but like we just said, Bivol's not that big at that weight, and Beterbiev is big at the weight. He's massive and he's strong. That makes that fight dangerous for Bivol. And for Canelo, that makes that fight very dangerous, Beterbiev.
Yeah, I could see Beterbiev taking a page out of Triple G, the Triple G fight.
Yeah.
And using the exact same strategy where he's just gonna, make Canelo, basically tire Canelo out, really. Like force him to use a lot of energy. Canelo's already a guy who, in my opinion, doesn't have great stamina. I wouldn't say he has poor stamina, but he doesn't have great stamina. So he's a low output guy. So a guy like Beterbiev is going to be able to if I'm Beterbiev, that's the strategy I'm going to use. I'm not going to try to box. I'm going to try to use my size and bully Canelo Alvarez basically, and try to take him to deep waters and try to make it a decision.
I agree with you, Mike. I think that's the style to beat Canelo now. I think, the style that Golovkin applied, where you're able to pressure Canelo and make him work for 3 minutes of the round and put him on the back foot and use your physicality and your strength and your power. Beterbiev has all of that. So I don't know whether Canelo would tire and get worn down in that fight, because Beterbiev has the physical strength and power and size to push Canelo back. So that's what makes that fight interesting for me.
And he's not a bad boxer either, though. That's another thing that people, he's an Olympian, if I'm not mistaken, right? So it's not like he has no skills, right? He's going to combine whatever skill set he has, or plus the size factor, the strength, the power factor there. That's not an easy fight at all. I'm not sure if Reynoso, if they're bluffing or if they're looking at it at a. If I'm Canelo Alvarez, this is what I would do. If I'm Canelo Alvarez, I wouldn't go up to 175 and fight all these guys like one by one, because I feel like he's giving up way too many advantages at that point, because he doesn't even need to do that. He already became a 4-division champion. The only reason to do that is to try and do something incredible, right? Like enhance his legacy to levels that maybe, would put him up there with who knows, what all-time greats. But as far as like a big, massive money fight, that's not, Better be he's not a big, he's not a popular guy. He's not it's not a big money fight. So he doesn't have to do that. It's purely a legacy type of fight here. So
Yeah, Canelo
instead
doesn't
of
need
doing
the
that, right? Instead of doing that, I would wait and see if one of these guys become undisputed, and then take that one fight for all the belts. That's what I would do.
Yeah, that would enhance Canelo's legacy massively. If he was to clean up at 175, Mike Ahmed, we're looking at a all-time great of very high proportion.
Definitely.
If he was to clean up at 175, don't you say, Mike?
I'd love if you
Yeah,
fight
I
both of
agree.
them.
I agree. I just wouldn't know where to put him, because I'm not a fan of like these greatest of all time lists, because I don't like comparing eras. But I think that there's no question that he would be in the discussion as maybe in the top, somewhere in the top 50, maybe top 30 all-time greats, somewhere around there, especially in and around those weight classes, because for a guy of his size, I mean, you rarely see guys of his stature competing in those weight classes, let alone actually winning championships and dominating. You rarely see that. When I think about middleweights, super middleweights, light heavyweights, I'm thinking about guys like Bernard Hopkins, like Roy Jones Jr. I'm thinking about guys like James Toney, guys who even went as high as heavyweight. Like massive, like grown, big dudes. You know what I'm saying? Like Canelo Alvarez is 5'8" tops, man. He's 5'8" tops. He's got a 78-inch reach. Floyd Mayweather had a longer reach than Canelo Alvarez. I mean, think about that. That's crazy to think about it. So he's, every time he goes into a fight in these weight classes, he's already giving up all the size advantages. So it's not, so you have to give him, I'm assuming you would have to give him a lot of credit. I don't know where we would place him, but that would be massive amount of credit. Even what he's doing right now, we got to give him a lot of props.
He's still not getting credit.
If he became undisputed at 175,
Makai, you there? One sec, Ahmed. Let Makai speak. I didn't know he was there. I thought he was having issues. Go on, Makai.
He's still not getting credit for what he's doing. I mean, he's beat Smith, Saunders. He's going to beat Plant. And they're still not going to get credit. He has to fight Charlo and Raid to get credit. It's ridiculous.
Why does he have to fight Charlo and Andrew, Makai?
Because that's what the Yanks think. Because they're stupid. They seem to think they're the only. They seem to think they're the only legacy fights for Canelo.
What, Charlo and Andrade? I don't. Nah.
I'm in other boxing groups, and there's a lot of Yanks. Well, all the Yanks, they think.
Oh yeah. But
yeah, he's right. He's right. Here in the States,
what they're saying is that Canelo's going on the European tour. So he's beating Smith, Saunders, he's cherry picking. But I mean, Smith and Saunders, they're the champs. But he's fighting Plant. But now all of a sudden, Plant's overrated. He's a bum. Like, what are they going to say? What are they going to say if he beats Charlo? What are they going to say if he beats Andrade?
Right.
Like, I mean, it's.
But I think that's what the reason why I think that's ridiculous is because I'm not even sure if those guys are actually his toughest matchup. It's probably his Benavidez. It probably has Benavidez, Charlo. but they're naming these other guys. But that has a lot to do with the whole race thing that a lot of people don't know about over here. Like
LDBC.
Yeah, so for example, that's why you get a lot of comments where they'll say like he's ducking black fighters, which is it's kind of ridiculous when you see his resume and the quality of the. I mean, he fought Floyd Mayweather. That's it. That should end the discussion right then and there. I mean, he fought Floyd Mayweather when he wasn't even in his prime and even agreed to a catch weight. So if you can fight Floyd Mayweather, then you'll fight anybody. It doesn't matter who the hell it is, because that's a top tier guy.
People seem to forget.
I was just disappointed about hearing about the Spence name flying around, and that's the only name I'm disappointed by.
Yeah, his trainer said that he's willing to fight Spence at a catch weight of 163, which would be Spence should not do that, man. Should not do that.
There's a really, really dangerous fight for Spence.
Yeah, 164. I don't think Spence would do that.
If Spence does that, mate, then he's got a lot of respect. He should get a lot of respect for everyone.
No, but from a Canelo point of view,
moving up to fight beasts like Canelo.
From a Canelo point of view, it would be good.
Yeah, Canelo wouldn't get a lot of
yeah, I said that before as well. Obviously, a lot of people, some people want him to fight Spence. I said, yeah, but when he beats Spence, they're just going to say he fought someone smaller.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Canelo has to fight these insanely bigger guys like Beterbiev.
Yeah, Canelo's not going to get any credit. That's strictly a money fight. That's strictly for Canelo. Strictly a money fight.
Yeah. That's why. But here's the thing, Makai. I actually think a fight between the reason why I want to see Canelo fight Beterbiev is because I think he can beat him. You see what I mean? I actually think Canelo can beat Beterbiev. That's why I would like to see that fight, because I actually think he can win that fight. I think Canelo's so good he can beat him.
That's a really hard fight for him, though. Beterbiev, he's a beast.
But the thing is, can he win that fight? Can he win that fight?
Yeah, Canelo. Because I mean, Beterbiev, he's a guy that comes forward, and I think that plays in favor of Canelo.
Yeah,
it's just the power, and I mean, Beterbiev, he is a good boxer. I mean, what he done to Gvozdvik, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. He's a guy on his feet. He's a really good boxer, and Beterbiev was just kind of ring off, like kind of outboxing them. It was weird. Yeah, he doesn't get enough credit for that. So it's a really hard fight for Canelo. It's a tougher fight than Bivol. Definitely.
Oh yeah. Size wise.
That's what's interesting to me about that fight. That sometimes I ask myself, what is Reynoso seeing that we're not seeing? Because obviously Reynoso's basically, I don't know if you guys know this, but Reynoso's basically the guy who chooses Canelo's opponents.
Yeah, he's manager.
Right. So. Because I know a lot of people, because when he was with Oscar and all that, a lot of people, I guess, probably assumed that maybe they were the ones. But no, Reynoso's really the guy who basically says, hey, let's go for this guy. Let's make history here. So he has to see something. I don't know what he saw. And that's the question that I have. He must have seen something that made him think we can beat this guy.
Yeah, with Reynoso, he's
the body shots, I think. Body shots, to the body, and he went down a couple of times. And I think that's Canelo's speciality. Really, he uses his shortness to his advantage, and that getting inside that arm and whipping them shots into the body.
And I mean, Canelo's strong as well. He's probably not stronger than Beterbiev, but he's a strong guy. Still, we've seen Beterbiev get dropped. Canelo's definitely capable of doing it.
Yeah, without question, Canelo's a beast. I don't think there's any. I honestly want to see that fight, guys. The reason why I want to see that fight is because I know Makai just said that fight is a very tough fight for Canelo. It is, but I think he can beat him, and I think if he can beat somebody, I feel that's a fight that should be made. If you think he can beat somebody, then that means that's a fight that we should want to see. I know he's having to move up and fight these big guys and stuff, but if people think he can beat those big guys, then why can't he fight Beterbiev,
The people I want to see Canelo fight is obviously Beterbiev.
Yeah.
I want to see him fight Charlo just to shut everyone up, because I think Canelo would smash him. I think Canelo
would beat Charlo and Andre.
I think that's one of his easiest fights, to be honest. I see the Canelo Charlo fight playing out a bit like the Canelo and Jacobs fight. I mean, Charlo, he telegraphs his punches all the time. I think Canelo will see that easily. I mean,
do you think the Jacobs fight was easy? I don't think that was easy.
I mean, Jacobs, he done good in the last 4 rounds, but I mean, Canelo's a lot better now as well. He's gone a lot better since then. I mean, the pandemic helped him a lot because he had a year in the gym, worked on his craft, and then he completely smashed Smith. I mean, the fight. I mean, Canelo versus Smith would have been a lot different before the pandemic, I reckon Canelo still would have won, but I feel it would probably been a bit more tougher. But I mean, he's had so much time to work on his craft and everything. He's just in a different level now than all these guys. And I mean,
the way Charlo looked recently doesn't help him at all either.
Exactly. I mean, with all I see in Charlo's a good middleweight. The only reason why he's a good middleweight is because he's a weight bully. He's like a light heavyweight on fight night. He's huge.
Yeah, he's huge.
Imagine if he fights someone his size. He'll get beat up.
And that's the reason why Canelo is not going to middleweight. That's the reason why he doesn't go to 160. That's the main reason why, because he doesn't see an advantage. So in his opinion, he's saying, strategically, he's thinking to himself, why am I going to cut 13 pounds, 14 pounds, right? When I'm still going to be undersized against these dudes. Why not let them come to my weight class where I only have to cut 7 pounds and I feel perfect here. I feel great because, I'm not cutting that much weight and I'm still going to get undersized. So it doesn't matter. Right. So I think that's what Canelo's doing is smart because all these guys are big. Triple G could move up to 168 too. I mean, who are we kidding, dude? Come on.
Oh yeah, of course.
Like the dude is big, but he chooses to stay at 160 because again, he's doing what every boxer does. They don't want to give any advantages. They don't want to give up any advantages, right? So all these fights can easily be made at 168, so it's not an issue. I mean, all these even Andrade is a big dude. So there's no issue there. It's just whether they want to move up and want to take the fights or not, but I agree with the whole Charlo thing. I mean he's a good fighter, don't get me wrong, but the only thing that there's some fighters that seem that kind of have this way where they tend to elevate when the opposition is greater. That's the only question that I have with Charlo. Like, is he one of those guys where if he does fight a Canelo Alvarez, is he going to bring his A game, his A+ game? And he does have some tools. He's got some power. He's got this and that. But yes, I agree. If Canelo if he's sharp, if he doesn't have a bad night, if he's 100% motivated, I think he's gonna make Charlo look bad.
With Minoso, obviously, his manager, his trainer, he said multiple times that they want to fight Charlo, and he's also said multiple times that Canelo stops him, and he even said Charlo's easy work for Canelo. So Reynoso sees a lot of things in Charlo, and I see some things in Charlo as well that I feel Canelo's going to really badly exploit, and it's going to shock a lot of the US boxing fan base, obviously, because they're using that narrative that Canelo's ducking Charlo. And I thought they're going to be in a massive shock when that fight happens.
I'm not
with Charlo. Just to throw this in there real quick. The thing with Charlo or his supporters, they feel that the reach, the jab that he has is the reason why they think he could beat Canelo Alvarez, because he has a jab and they think he has enough power to keep Canelo honest and just kind of like pepper him with the jab, keep him on the outside and just kind of counter punch him a little bit here and there. And that's the supposed strategy that they think would beat Canelo Alvarez.
I mean, you got Charlo's jab, but then you've got Canelo's counter punching, his body shots, the head movement. I don't see Charlo just winning with a jab. He's going to use a lot. He's going to have to use a lot more of his tools, and I just don't feel he's got any tools to actually beat Canelo.
Fight. Although I would favor Canelo, I actually think the fight's a good fight. I actually think that Charlo has some attributes that I think could cause Canelo trouble. As we were mentioning earlier, Beterbiev is obviously a lot bigger than Charlo, a lot stronger, and I think he's more of a better boxer. His amateur record would suggest that. But Charlo has some attributes that could cause Canelo trouble, and that is his physical strength, his jab. Charlo's I think he's got a good chin. And he, like you just said, he's a weight bully, right? That means that he's a big dude. He's a big dude. And as you said, he blows up heavy on fight night, right? He's a massive guy, Charlo. That in itself, I don't know whether Charlo has the punching power. If Charlo has the punching power to hurt Canelo and push Canelo back, I think, Makai, that would be a much more interesting fight than you think. I'm not saying he wins, because I would favor Canelo massively, but that would be down to the fact whether Charlo has the ability to hurt Canelo and push him on the back foot. If Charlo is able to push Canelo on the back foot, right, that might be a lot more interesting than what you think, Makai.
I get what you mean. I'm probably being a bit cruel on Charlo because of his last performance. He has got a good jab. I'll give him that. He showed that in the Derevchenko fight, but I don't feel he'll hurt Canelo because he usually hurts his opponents when they swing with him. Have you ever realised that? I don't think Canelo's not. He's not really a guy that swings at you, is he? Canelo. He's gonna have to set his shots up well to actually catch Canelo with a really good shot. And I don't feel he can do that. But obviously, his jab will be a problem, of course. But I feel that's all he's got. The physical strength as well. I don't think Canelo's going to be able to bully him like he done with Callum Smith.
But there's something I agree. There's something about Charlo's technique that when I see him fight, he just doesn't look sharp to me. Like when I look at top level opposition, when I look like guys like Floyd, like Canelo Alvarez, like Manny Pacquiao, their shots are precise, they're sharp, they're nice and short. I look at Charlo fight and kind of like what Makai, is it Makai?
Yeah.
Is what Makai was saying, he's kind of wide with his shots, he's kind of sloppy at times, he kind of looks slow, you could kind of telegraph them. That's a big issue right there. That's a big issue because the technique, the technical side of the matchup right there, I feel like it's obvious that Canelo's a more technical fighter.
Yeah, and also I've kind of forgot about this as well because the fight, it would probably be at 168. Obviously, if Charlo moves up, would that make him? It would make him powerful and faster, maybe, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think at 168 the fight would favor Charlo. At 160, Canelo's got the skills. At 168, I think he could impose his will and size on Canelo.
But Charlo doesn't want to move up to 168. He said that I want to stay at 160. So
probably because he wants to fight Dwayne Canelo.
The thing about moving up at times is that I think it's obvious that Charlo could fight at 168. He is a 168 guy. He could even fight at 175 if he wanted to.
Yeah.
But the thing with moving up with certain fighters, it doesn't happen all the time, but is that you still need to somewhat acclimate yourself. So if he moves up, like it's kind of like when Canelo moved up to 175, he went straight to 175 and he fought a Kovalev, right? And even after the fight, they asked Reynoso how Canelo looked, and he said that he felt he kind of looked sluggish, that he wasn't as quick, and even though this is around what Canelo probably weighs on fight night, 173, 174, 175, around there, 176. It still made him look somewhat slow, right? So you still have to kind of acclimate yourself to the weight class. So if Charlo jumps to 168, I would take some fights before fighting a guy like Canelo Alvarez, because then I think something similar happened to Canelo when he moved up to 160 and fought Triple G. I think that's kind of one of the reasons why Canelo's looking even sharper now, that he almost went straight to Triple G. He took one fight against Chavez Jr. above 154, 155, and then he went straight to Triple G. And then when he fought Triple G, it's almost like he had to kind of get a better feel for Triple G. His punch, I think that's why he was somewhat hesitant. He was too defensive in the first fight. He kind of played the role of the boxer instead. And then once he had the chance to fight him again, he's like, dude, I could take this fool's punch. It's not that big of a deal. He's strong, but I feel like I have the strength to kind of deal with this guy, right? So then he switched it up on Triple G, and then he fought, quote unquote, Mexican style. He switched it up on Triple G and beat him at his own game. So I think Charlo will probably have to do something, a similar fashion, something like that, where I wouldn't just jump into a fight immediately, But for whatever reason, he doesn't want to move up. I guess because of that, because he still wants the size advantage. He wants the size advantage. He doesn't want to move up, but at the same time, he doesn't want to fight Andre. He doesn't want to move up, but at the same time, he's not pushing for the Triple G fight. He said, if Triple G wants it, cool. If he doesn't want it, then I'm going to meet, I just want to continue to fight to feed my family. So, I mean, these guys, I don't even understand these guys, because they don't even fight the guys in their own weight class.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, people seem to think Charlo wants to fight Golovkin and all because he's called him out. He also called out Benavidez, and then look what happened. If you guys know about that, Benavidez accepted it, and then Charlo was like, "Oh, I'm not fighting a little kid. I'm not fighting anyone under 25 because Benavidez is 24, and he's making him take a COVID vaccine." Like, he'd do the exact same to Golovkin, I reckon, if Golovkin actually tried fighting him.
I mean, what do you make of, guys? What do you make of this Andrade situation with Golovkin? Apparently, DAZN are trying to push a Golovkin-Andrade fight. They're not happy with the opponent that Golovkin wants, and they're trying to push a Golovkin fight with Andrade. What do you make of that?
I think that's great. I hope that fight happens.
Who wins that fight?
I think Golovkin can still win that. Yeah, Golovkin.
Yeah, I would have to agree.
Yeah, Golovkin.
Yeah, I think Golovkin as well. Yeah. Mike, what do you think? What do you think about them trying to force the Golovkin and Andrade fight?
I mean, I think it's great. I mean, if they could force it, then do it. I mean, if that's what you have to do, then you know, I mean, if that's what it takes, then because I mean, I don't know what they did. I mean, they did something similar with the whole Canelo thing with the contracts. Like, I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know if they were just assuming that guys were going to fight each other, or that everybody was going to fight. They were going to have a tournament or something. I have no idea. But you can't give, you can't give Triple G that type of money, and expect him not to fight guys of the other champions, right? I mean, so either you redo the contract, or you force him some way to make a fight, a unification fight, because if not, it doesn't make any sense. And to me, it makes sense for both guys, because even a fight like that for Triple G, even though I don't feel like he has anything to prove, it still enhances his legacy, because that's another championship fight. That's a unification fight. And for Andrade, that's the type of fight he's been looking for his whole fucking career. So why wouldn't he take that fight? And then that fight, if he beats Triple G, then that sets him up for bigger fights. So it's a win-win. I feel like it's a win-win for everyone. I just don't think Triple G. I think just I don't know what he's thinking, but I'm gonna assume that Triple G's thinking, like, at this point in my career, I'm only looking for big fights, big money fights.
Yeah.
So Andre brings nothing to the fucking table in terms of money. And I don't really give a shit about his title, because I already fought guys that are better than him, and I fought Canelo, and I fought this guy and that guy. So I'd rather fight Canelo again, or have another fight with a bigger name, or maybe a Charlo. I don't know. A Charlo would probably be a better fight, but now we have the network dispute right there. So I don't know how that would work. So I mean, it's just a mess, man. Honestly, it's a mess.
My problem with Golovkin and Andrade is I can't believe I'm sticking up for Andrade. Is obviously Golovkin once said that he basically admitted he doesn't want to fight Andrade because he's boring. He's like he wants quality fights, not boring fights, because of how Andrade fights. But he was in that same position, wasn't he? Well, he wasn't a boring fight, but he was avoided, and he knew how it felt. He can get big fights, and now he's doing the exact same thing to Andrade. I mean, it's just a bit hypocritical, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Yeah. Good point there.
Yeah.
Good point there. I think Andrade and Charlo should fight. Donda 555 makes a good point, and GGV Murata, and then the last two fight for undisputed. Because we already know Golovkin's in talks with Murata, so why don't GGG fight Murata, and then what's his name? Andrade and Charlo fight. They're the two younger guys. The winner fights for Golovkin, if Golovkin can beat Murata, for the undisputed.
Do you think Murata is the weakest out of all of them?
He's a good fighter. Murata is dangerous, but yeah, I do think he's not as good as the other three. No.
Yeah,
I think he's the weakest too.
I probably would agree. I mean, we don't know, but to me, it's quite obvious, to be honest.
Yeah. Who comes out on top? Do you think, Mike? Out of those four, if they had a round robin, who would you think would be the last man standing?
That's a great question, man. I know it's not Murata, and it's not going to be Andrade, so it's going to be between Charlo and Triple G. I think that fight would be. I think that fight would be
very
the one. Fight. That would be the final. That would be the final of the semifinals, I guess you could say. Andrade, the thing with Andrade, man, is that if he can avoid getting knocked out, I mean, then who knows? I mean, if the fight goes to decision and he keeps it close and he makes it ugly, because he's that type of fighter. He's the type of fighter that could make a fight real ugly. He could probably start holding, use some tactics, where just make it a dirty fight and then move around the ring and then get to the decision and then maybe he pulls it off. Who the hell knows? But I just don't think. I think that even Charlo has the power to knock him out. And Triple G is just gonna walk through him. I mean, there's just nothing.
Oh, sorry.
No, go for it.
Yeah, I actually think Andrade beats Charlo, to be honest.
Oh, really?
I think it would be if that would happen. I think it would be Golovkin versus Andrade. Yeah, I think Andrade would beat Charlo. I feel, obviously, as I said, Charlo, he telegraphs his punches, and Andrade, I mean, he's got good movement. He has got good movement. He's a good fighter. I feel Andrade would easily see that, and he's got the footwork and everything, and he's got a bit of pop on him as well. He's got a bit of power. He's not like those pillow fists. He's not like a pillow-fisted slick guy. I feel he's got a bit of pop on him.
The thing with Andrade, man. The thing with Andrade, I've seen him fight, and I've seen him. There's a reason why they say he's a horrible fighter, because he throws. Sometimes I see him punch, man, in ways where I'm like, what in the world is this guy doing? I mean, like, you want to talk about telegraphing punches? I've seen this guy literally cock a punch to try and knock guys out, and he cannot knock anybody out, dude. I mean, like, and these are like bums. I'm talking about bum level opposition. There is no way. In my opinion, there is no way. I've seen enough from Charlo to where I think that he has enough dog in him, where even if he's losing a fight, he's just gonna go after Charlo. If he has to do it, I think that he's just gonna go. I mean, after Andrade. I feel like I've seen enough dog in Charlo where I feel like he'll go after Andrade, and if that means that he has to risk, he'll take the risk. And I don't think Andrade has the power to hurt Charlo. Never mind Triple G.
Yeah, I think I know what you mean. I saw him do it with Selecki. Like he kind of just lunges it and just looks at the floor while doing it. Is that the kind of punch you want? Yeah, but I don't think he's gonna do that with Charlo. If he does, then yeah, he's getting knocked out. But I don't think he's silly enough to do that in the biggest fight of his career. I feel he's gonna, play it safe.
He's gonna be more disciplined.
Yeah, if he obviously does do that, then yeah, it's stupid. He shouldn't do that.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, it's not a. I would agree that I would consider that. I would still consider that somewhat of a 50-50 fight. The Charlo Andrade, I would give Andrade enough of a benefit of the doubt that he could make it a 50-50 type of fight. I just think that I would give the slight edge to Charlo, but yeah. I could see him taking it to a decision and possibly getting the nod in an ugly fight, though. But I could see that happening.
Makai, as you're from the UK, I wanted to ask you a question. What did you make of the new DAZN commentary team for Eddie Earn in the UK?
Yeah, I saw some, and they got Maya Jamal.
Yeah, Maya Jama.
Yeah. So they've got a couple of people that don't know anything about boxing. I think that's a bit. Yeah, I don't agree with that kind of stuff. I mean, they got Bellew,
Andy Lee,
Andy Lee, and all that. Andy Lee, that's a good one. Yeah, they're all right ones, but having people like Maya Jamal and all that, I don't really agree with that. But I'm not putting too much focus on this because it's only a commentary team. It's not like it's going to kill the sport. So yeah, I'm not really. Yeah, I ain't got a big problem with it.
They got Mike Costello as well.
Mike Costello.
Yeah. He's a good commentator, and they've got Chris Lloyd. He's good as well. Maya Jama's just there for a presentation. She's not there for. She's not there for like the boxing, like for the obviously she's gonna do a preparation prior, but obviously she's a good presentation or a good TV presenter. So I actually think she's not a bad bet, and she's also a celebrity. Yeah, she's a celebrity as well, so that'll bring more eyes to the show. So I actually think it's a smart move by DAZN, to be honest with you.
Wasn't there? I mean, I don't know about any of this. You know, because I know it's a UK thing, but wasn't there? What happened to that? I think she does Fox too. I think it's a. I don't know her name. She's black. She's a black. The one that made that comment where she said, "You have good sperm." Where she made headlines.
Kate Abdo. That's Kate Abdo.
Yeah, she
she's good. Why isn't she in wasn't she doing DAZN stuff?
Well, she does the football for us still, well, soccer as you guys say. Yeah, she still does that.
As a presenter, I think she's badass as a presenter.
Yeah,
and I like the as a color commentator. I like what Carl Froch did in the Billy Joe Saunders Canelo fight. I don't know what you guys thought, but I thought he was pretty good.
Yeah,
his insight.
Yeah, he's a lot of people don't like him actually. I mean, I don't really rate him as much, but I don't really know about the Canelo Saunders one. I wasn't really paying attention to that.
I think.
But,
what do you think?
Okay. What do you make he gets a lot of stick.
What do you make of Timothy Bradley? I think he's doing all right, isn't he? On that side.
Yeah, I feel Bradley's just very unbiased, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, he's good. I like Bradley.
Yeah. What about Ward? Ward is a brilliant. He's a brilliant. Ward's
he's
a brilliant
as well.
I like them both. I think they do a good job.
What about Paulie?
They show a little bias towards like not overall bias, but they show bias towards like Crawford. I think it's obvious.
Oh yeah.
They show bias towards Crawford. That's the only thing I don't like. But overall, I think they're really, really good. The dude that I hate and he just popped up right now, I can't stand that dude is Paulie Malignaggi, bro. I can't stand
really.
No, and I don't like him because he's too emotional. I don't like guys. I feel like you have to be. I prefer when you're more professional. Like he's the type of dude that I like that he's opinionated, but I feel like he crosses the line too much where he makes a lot of shit up, bro. Like he's the type of dude that he's still to this day he's accusing Manny Pacquiao of performance enhancing drugs, bro. Like you can't be a professional and do stupid shit like that, man. Like come on, dude. Like
I mean, sorry.
Yeah, like that's just one thing. He talks shit about fighters like Canelo Alvarez. He talks shit about a bunch of fighters, dude. I mean, he says he's not like he just doesn't come off as like professional. I guess that's what it is. But as far as his knowledge, I respect his knowledge. I respect the way he breaks down certain fights. I just think that he's too emotional. He's too biased. And if you're too biased, you shouldn't be commentating.
Basically, Mike, just some comments in the comment section. There's Kevin Lou, Paulie the best, Ian Dawson, Malignaggi, the great commentator, Paulie the GOAT, Mr. Pigeon. Donda says Paulie was sacked saying European boxers are the best right now and black fighters are not. He didn't say that. Yeah, Paulie is definitely too emotional at times. Yeah, Mr. Pigeon says. So Paulie's got, in terms of the commentary game, Mike, Paulie's got a great reputation, man. People like him.
Yeah, he's kind of one of those. He's kind of one of those that he's kind of. I could compare him to who can I compare him to? Like he's kind of like one of those. Like if I compare him to like a sport, he's like one of those dudes where like if you're playing against him, you hate his ass, but if he's on your team, you love him.
Yeah,
right. Like he's kind of like one of those guys. So if he's right, so like if you're cool with him, he's a great guy. You know, he comes off as like a great guy. So a lot of people like him, you know, as far as that. But if he's he's also the type of dude though that like if he hates you, he's gonna ride you, man. He's gonna ride you. Like he's not, and that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Like that's what I don't like about him. That he'll get too emotional to the point where like if they give him his opinion on a certain fight, he'll bring something up that's not even related to the fight. So he'll, so if he doesn't like the fighter, he'll be like, but I don't know, he might have been cheating, and he'll start making shit up, right? He'll start making things up, and you're just kind of, as a matter of fact, one time, if I'm not mistaken, there was this black dude in the UK who was doing an interview with him, and they asked him a question. I'm not sure if it was about Canelo or someone, and the black guy, the UK guy, told Paulie like in his face, and he's like, bro, like you're coming off like you're just a hater.
Yeah,
and he's like, no, man, I'm not hating.
Spencer Fearon. Yeah.
Right. So that's my point. See, that's my point. Like he makes it so obvious that it's like unprofessional, bro. You know what I mean? Like it's because he crosses the line like way too much. Like I could understand like there's analysts that can be biased, but not to the extent to where you're coming off as a hater, man, because now that kills your credibility, in my opinion.
So Mr. Pigeon says the best 3 presenters for a fight would be Paulie, Prince Nassim, and Froch. Wow. That would be 3 very controversial guys. Three very controversial. What do you think about that?
I agree with OG MXBC. Roy, like guys like Roy Jones and Max Kellerman, I think they're great.
Oh yeah. Max Kellerman. The only thing is with Max Kellerman, I would love Max Kellerman to come to the UK. The thing is, I don't think Max Kellerman knows a lot about the lower tier UK fighters.
Right.
I think you need somebody that from the UK, do you know what I mean, that knows the grassroots coming up. Whereas Max probably knows more about American boxing. I'm not sure whether he would know a lot about the UK boxing.
Oh, no doubt. No question. I was just saying that those are the type of commentators that I like. But as far as going to the UK, there's no chance. I mean, they don't know enough.
Yeah. Otherwise, I think Max Kellerman's probably one of the best in the game, to be honest. I don't think
for sure.
That guy
because he knows a lot of history too. So it's not just the fact that he can break down a fight, or he can give you an analysis on a fight, but he knows the history of boxing. So he'll make comparisons like from old school boxers, and so he's got the total package.
Yeah. What do you make of I was gonna ask you about Stephen A. Smith. What do you make of him?
No, he doesn't. He Stephen A. Smith. I what I would say about him is I'm gonna use the classic Roger Mayweather. You don't know shit about boxing.
Yeah.
You don't know shit about boxing. He should just stay away. I know Max. That's his buddy, and so Max is gonna spot him in that. But I've seen Stephen A. Smith say some shit where it's like, all right, that's a casual right there. Boom, casual alert. Get him the fuck out of there. That like there's certain things you can't say that exposes you as a casual immediately. And Stephen A. is kind of one of those guys, where he'll bring up an example and you're just like, no, wow, man, you just made yourself look really, really bad, and you don't even know it. He doesn't even know it.
The thing I love about Stephen A. Smith is his passion for the sport. Like he really loves all the sports. He just doesn't know. He just thinks he knows a lot about it.
That's just boxing, though. I'm just talking about boxing. As far as basketball and everything else, he's a shit. No, Stephen A. Smith overall, he's a legend in my eyes. He's a legend.
Oh yeah, man, massive mate.
He's one of the first dudes that started the whole debate, the debating and the shows. What we see now that's common now. He's one of the originators with Skip Bayless. Right, like they're the ones that started the whole the debates and the shows that we see now with Undisputed, and I mean they're all over the place now. That's all that you see nowadays on like these sports channels and shit. So he's one of the OGs. So as far as like basketball, I give him his props, and he just has a good knowledge overall in the sports. But when it comes to boxing, no man, he does some stupid shit. Even football. Basketball, I give him his props and.
EK, turn off your volume.
Sports, but when
is it better? Sorry about that.
Yeah, I was hearing myself there. Yeah, but Stephen A. He's a legend, dude.
Oh, what's happened? What's happened there? I think he's.
They're taking a bath. They're
No, it's
taking a
not fish tank.
bath.
Can you guys hear me?
Looks like those guys have gone. I don't know where they've gone. Guys, can we hear me? Can we hear me, guys? I don't know where those guys are gone.
Am I still in?
Yep, you're it.
All right.
You're in. You're
Yeah,
in.
there was a glitch. Feels like there was a glitch or something.
Hello?
Yeah, we're all in. Yeah, we're all in. Yep.
Sorry, the background noise. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, man.
Yeah, it's just that fish tank is like I'm not taking a piss. It's my fish tank.
Oh no, it's all right, man. It's all right. It's all right, man. Yeah, we were just talking about commentators and stuff like EK. Who's your favorite commentators? And are you from the UK, EK?
I'm from Canada.
Oh, are you from Canada? Who are your favorite commentators then?
I like Max Kellerman, and I like Jim Lampley's old HBO show.
Oh yeah,
and,
brilliant. Yeah, he's brilliant. He's
brilliant. Actually, I listen to a lot of Chris Mannix podcast on Spotify.
Yes.
Like Boxing with Chris Mannix is really good. He has a lot of good guests on.
Yeah, he's good. What about Ark? Is it Ark and Barack? Is it?
Oh, I love them.
But they're more like for entertainment. They're not like. I feel like they're more like for the culture. They're not like analysts.
The other guy I used to love was Emmanuel Stewart. I used to love Emmanuel Stewart.
Yeah, he was brilliant, man.
He was great.
He knew his.
I knew Sean Porter. He has a podcast on YouTube.
Yeah, Sean Porter's good too.
Yeah, I like his channel too.
He's got, he's one of those guys that has that potential to be kind of like a future. I know he's still fighting, but a color commentator. You know who else is pretty good too? Keith Thurman. I think he would be good too. He's articulate. The way he breaks down fights, he's sharp too.
There's one guy I find really
combination of Max Kellerman and Andre Ward. Them two together make a good partnership.
EK, Last Bell Boxing Chat is asking you a question. Is Lennox Lewis British or Canadian?
He's Jamaican also, so he's all three. He's all three, man. But he won us a gold medal. He won us a medal in the Olympics. So I guess he's more Canadian than British.
Yeah,
he really didn't win you guys nothing.
So what would you classify him as, Canadian or British? Because
he's like one of those multicultural people. He's mixed, man. You can't really give him, unless he says he's one more than the other. Like I wouldn't really say anything.
Yeah. I get you.
What does Lewis? That's a good question. What does Lewis say?
I don't know. I don't know what he's actually ever said. I don't know. He was born in the UK, but then he went to Canada at the age of 12. So I don't know.
And he's also Jamaican, right? He's also Jamaican.
Yeah. I don't know. But then he fought for Canada in the Olympics. I don't know. I don't know. It's a tough one, isn't it? It's a tough.
Yeah.
Actually, I used to train with one of his stable, like the same trainer that trained him in Canada. He was my coach. So he had another trainer. He has another fighter called Rocky or something, and he was like one of my trainers. So I used to train, but like unless they were lying to me, because a lot of people in the gym that tell coaches, I know this guy, I know that guy.
Right. Okay.
That's what he told me.
Right. Okay. So what do you think Lewis calls him? What does Lewis call himself? Canadian or he keeps himself in the middle?
I'm sure when he's in Canada, he'll probably be like, "Oh, I won you guys a medal," and then when he's in the UK, he's probably like, "Oh, I like fish and chips" or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, as a professional, he would represent himself as British, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. Yeah. He's even got a British accent, so like.
But he won his Olympic gold medal for Canada, Mike. So it's like okay, I don't know. I don't
But
know.
is that how he's?
Aren't you a Pakistani British? Britain?
Yeah, I'm British.
Are you one more than the other? Because I'm.
I don't know. I was born in the
putting him on the
UK and I
spot.
spent all my life in the UK, so I would definitely call myself more British. But then your roots are from Pakistan, right? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure you speak Urdu like at home or like.
Yeah. My
so
parents speak Punjabi. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm from Pakistan too. So, but I'm Canadian. Like I'm also Canadian, right? So I feel like he's like the same. From Lennox.
So it's like having two. It's like having two kids, right?
Yeah.
Like you just. I mean, there's two kids, but you love them the same, right? Yeah, I could relate to that.
But the thing is, like, even Amir Khan, for example, how would you classify him? He's a British Pakistani, but he won his medal for obviously Britain, and he represents Britain. So it's quite clear as white.
But he's always waving the flag of Pakistan too when he's fighting, or back home, people are pretty excited. He's on like news channels.
Yeah.
So it's like you can be both. You don't have to be one more than the other. I don't think.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, good point. I just don't know, because with Canada, like, that's come out from nowhere, because although he lived in Canada, he wasn't born there, but he represented them in the Olympics, which is and won a gold medal for them, a big achievement as well.
Yeah.
That's the and a lot of British people here, a lot of British people have a grudge against Lewis for that, and some people just refuse to even like give him, say he's British, even though that's absurd. The fact that he's born here, he should, some people, have that grudge against Lennox Lewis because of that.
Was Lewis actually born in England?
Yeah, he was born in West Ham in the UK.
I always wondered. I have this question for you guys in the UK. Do you, from my perspective, it feels that when you guys have a UK fighter, it doesn't matter whether he's from Pakistan or he's black or whatever. It feels from over here that everybody kind of like supports that guy. I don't know. That's just the way it looks. Like Joshua or Amir Khan, like they both had big followings or whatever, And even if it's a white athlete, is that how it is, or is it more like what you see here in the United States? Because in the United States, it's not even close to that. Like if you could be Mexican American, you could be from Honduras American or African American. They don't all support the American. They have groups. So you're not gonna see. You're not always gonna see the African American support the Mexican American, even though he's American born. They're gonna make it seem as if like it's two separate groups. Like it's not really based on the nationality. It's more based on, I guess,
the background.
Race. It might be race or background. Yeah, right. Background.
Right. So yeah, a little bit. For example, if we're gonna take that, like Hatton, for example, was a lot more like, although Amir was very famous, he wasn't as loved as Hatton, for example. That could be down to Hatton for most of his career in the UK. So yeah, of course, there is a little bit. I'm not sure what the situation is in America. I don't know how race driven it is there. You obviously live there, so you're in a better place to answer. There is a little bit more. There is obviously race driven things here as well, but I don't think it's probably as extreme as it is in America. Do you see what I mean? Like, obviously, I'm pretty sure if there's most people here in the UK consider Lennox Lewis the greatest British fighter of all time. Over Calzaghe. And he's a black fighter. So, I do think that, yeah, if you're really good, they do give you, your props. Although, like, there are people here that, it's everywhere though, ain't it? I know what you're saying. It's everywhere, those type of things. You can't
right. I agree. I just think it's probably like it's worse over here though, and it's only in boxing. I'm not saying in other sports. It doesn't happen in other sports. It's only in boxing for whatever reason. In boxing,
because I believe boxing is like a singular man sport, right? It's like one versus. It's not like a team sport where, like in basketball, you might have like maybe a few white people, a few Latinos. It's like it's not a team
Right.
sport. So boxing is like very mono, like man versus man.
Yeah, like when I root for my teams here in the States, I
Yeah.
don't even think about what color they are. It's just
Yeah,
they're all you know, I support all of them, right? But in boxing, it just feels like the moment they see that color and it's like, okay, that's my guy. You know, it doesn't matter whether it's you know where he's from
also
or whatever.
when Canelo fights, it's like the Mexican culture's on show. Like whenever there's like Mexican songs, Mexican singers,
Right.
you know, when it's like a cultural event. So I feel like the fighters add into like, I'm sure when like Amir Khan fights, there's like a Pakistani flag and a British flag somewhere. You know, like it's like the fighters definitely like it's been like that since there was, you know, the history of boxing is like filled up with the white hope. You know, there has to be a white fighter beating that color, like back in the days before the 60s. So like it's like embedded in boxing history as like you know, even when who was it? Joe Louis was fighting the German. It was like, you know, like America versus like the Nazis. It was like very like throughout history it's been like that.
Yeah, like for example, this guy Don Dada said that's why Mexican fans did not like Oscar De La Hoya at first, because they said he wasn't a real Mexican. But that's not exactly what I'm saying. I'm talking about the color of someone's skin. That's just more someone saying, well, you're not born in Mexico. You're not born in Mexico. You're born in the United States and you're Mexican American, so you're not a true Mexican. Right here, it goes beyond that. Right here is not even about that. It's not even about nationality. It's about race. That's my point.
Yeah.
Right. Just strictly race. So that's the problem that's, to me, it's a problem because now you're giving these guys have the opportunity to have like their own, they have a platform now, like on YouTube. And I think Makai brought that up earlier where he said, I don't follow these guys, but I think he said something about the LDCB or blah 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 community. I don't know what community it is. Like those guys just cater to one particular group, and they do a lot of race baiting and a lot of stuff like that. Like I think that's just terrible, bro, because not everybody thinks that, right? And and when you're spreading this type of venom out there, you're getting people to root for other guys, even if they're from your country, and it just creates a bunch of just negativity, and it might even affect sales. Who knows? I mean, if it gets to the point
I'm a little
where
confused. Are you talking about boxing channels or are you talking about boxers?
Boxing channels and it could even be boxers too, because we've heard some boxers make certain comments where they bring that up, right? Like
a lot of like Devin Haney recently said, "Ain't no white boy beating me."
Right. Like so that it tells you, right? It shows you right then and there that it's I mean, it sucks. I mean, it's something that I hate. That's probably one of the only things that I hate about boxing, you know, that it's
I only just found out about the LDBC. Well, obviously I know about them for quite a bit now, I'd say, but obviously I didn't know about them there. Obviously when I'm on YouTube, I'm just seeing videos and it's the LDBC and I'm clicking on it, not knowing that they're a racist channel. Obviously they're like they're just making me believe them, because I'm aware that they're just racist and they're biased. So I'm kind of like believing that it's true, and then that's kind of what I've been thinking. And then obviously as I'm following boxing more, then I'm starting to find out who they actually are, and it's just really bad because they've just basically like manipulated people, if you know what I mean.
Exactly, and that's why you get all these people saying that they're ducking this guy or that Charlo this or that Charlo that, when it's kind of like, dude, why don't we just go based on who is better? Who do you think is better? Who has more skills? You know, and that's it.
They're facing those comments on what Terence Crawford said. Terence Crawford said Canelo is ducking.
Right, but it's the same thing,
Charlo
right?
is ducking black style, like whatever the black style fighting is. But to be honest, like there's no such thing as like the Mexican style, because Canelo doesn't have he's not a brawler. He's a very
there is no style, exactly.
Yeah, he's like, if you want to say that, because Canelo is very like, his defense is on point, his offense, he's very like, his IQ is really up there. So he's not like quote unquote typical Mexican fighter. Right. So I don't know what that even means, a black fighter. Like
even black fighters don't have the same style. That's you could say that
like
too.
Kirkland,
You can't compare Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson.
Kirkland. Yeah, exactly. So Canelo, when we faced Kirkland was like quote unquote fighting the Mexican style. He's trying to like rough him up and brawl with him. And Canelo was like being a patient, smart counter puncher. And he was like, if you want to go on their words, he was trying to be the black fighter.
EK, wow. I know you come on late. I know you came on a bit later. I wanted to ask your opinion about Canelo, because we were talking about it prior. Canelo against Charlo, and Canelo against Benavidez, and Canelo against Beterbiev. And who do you think beats Canelo? Do you think there's anyone out there right now that can beat him?
The only way Canelo is going to get beaten if he moves up too much in weight, or if he has an injury and he doesn't like, he goes into a fight with like, you know how Loma went into the Teofimo fight with like apparently. So like that's the one like with Charlo, I think that's is actually a bigger fight than what's his name?
Andrade.
No, obviously Andrade. What were the other two people you named? Benavidez?
Beterbiev and Bivol and Benavidez.
Yeah, I think Charlo, because of the he's like probably the more famous one in America, right? So I feel like that's the biggest like fight for him, like popularity wise. But I think if he moves up in weight, I think someone like Bivol, who's also very technical, like is this going to be like a very close 12-round fight where even and you said Beterbiev, like I think Beterbiev's defense, his speed is so bad. Like he gets like every fight I've seen Beterbiev in, like he knocks people out, yeah, but like his speed is very slow, and his defense, he's getting like he's been knocked down twice, like and his defense is horrible. I think he just like walks people down. He's there to be hit. So like if I think Canelo would just like be very. I think he would win that fight. But with Bivol is like, well, I think it would be much harder because
Ahmed was saying that as well.
Bivol is like very technical, and it'll be like a chess match from round 1 to round 12.
Yeah,
so I think Bivol is his hardest, but Charlo is his most like where he can make the most money in America at least.
What do you think about Andrade?
Yeah, I think that's also a tough fight, but I think he catches and beats him. Knocks him out like in the later rounds, but I think there's no revenue coming in from Andrade, so like I think he's not going to fight him because there's nothing to gain other than, and it might be a tough fight. So like like the pros and cons. The cons is like I don't see Andrade like unless I think Andrade should fight like some people like Daniel Jacobs. He's on DAZN or he's on Matchroom. He should fight like people who is Canelo's fought. Like I don't know why they're not. This could be a good moment for them. Like Charlo, if Triple G and Canelo isn't fighting him, he should fight Daniel Jacobs. He should fight some of the fighters that Canelo's fought, so people can have a better like comparison. Everyone's just waiting for like either Canelo and Triple G, and it's like really hurting their careers and boxing.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd agree with some of the points. Definitely agree with you. With what you just said, Makai, who do you think beats Canelo? Anyone from 175 to 160?
No one from 160 and 68 beats him. Probably Beterbiev, I'd say. I just feel he's a bit too strong for Canelo. He's too big.
Fair enough. Can you see Canelo moving up to cruiserweight?
No way. Yeah, way too big. But trust me, if he does beat Beterbiev, that's what they'll be saying.
Yeah,
that's what they'll be saying.
I think Canelo may even move up to cruiserweight to fight a weaker champion. You never know with Canelo. Honestly, Canelo's a beast right now. I don't know what this guy's capable of doing. He could potentially move up to cruiserweight and fight someone like Makabu, who's a champion.
I remember post-fight interview, he got asked. Obviously, it was a bit of a joke question. There was like, "Would you go cruiserweight?" Straight away, Canelo said no. Like he didn't like that hesitation. He says they're too big for him, so I don't think he will. And it's just
he did say he wouldn't go to light heavyweight, but now him and his trainer are talking about going to light heavyweight and fighting Beterbiev.
Yeah, that's true.
Could the money determine? I don't know. Canelo's got heart, man. He'll fight. What do you think? What do you think, EK? Do you think he'd go to cruiserweight or too big?
Yeah, I think he will if his trainers and his team officially have said it to Eddie Hearn. Then I think that's what they want to do after they unify. But then I think he's better off calling Charlo, one of the Charlo brothers, to 168 and fighting them before he moves up, because it'll be a good payday.
Yeah,
it'll be a stay. Yeah, I think. Yeah, but Canelo should not go down to 160 or where he's been. But if he wants to have like one fight with Beterbiev, then I think he could do that. It's not like no one's saying he's going to stay there and unify that division too. That'll be crazy, but like, you never know.
EK, who's the best promoter in the world?
Eddie Hearn.
Eddie Hearn.
Yeah, I really like him. Yeah.
Why do you like him?
Because recently, with Bob Arum, like his comments on like Terence Crawford, and just the way he's like dealt with his fighters, I really don't like him. Eddie Hearn is like very like, I guess his team's very genuine when he's on the camera. He's funny, you know. He even said with Andre, like we'll go to the other promotion. Like he's really trying really hard to make these fights, even with AJ and Fury, like. You know, he's really and he's very active on social media and with interviews. So you feel like you know him more than the other promoters. Al Heyman, no one knows. He's like some sort of like guy in the shadows. You know what I mean? Like Oscar De La Hoya, his comments recently on Canelo, like he's very like you know, very personal. Like Eddie Hearn just seems like a genuine, like friendly, like he doesn't take anything too hard. Strictly boxing, trying to make big fights happen.
I agree. I totally agree. What do you think, Makai? Who's the best promoter in the world?
Yeah, Hearn. I mean, I feel he's the only one out of the promoters that actually wants to risk his fighters. Like, there's a reason why his fighters, especially last year, they lost, didn't they? Most of his fighters, they lost. Because he done a lot of risks. He doesn't really care. If his fighter wants that fight, he'll make it. I don't feel he wants to protect his fighters. Like people seem to accuse him of protecting like people like AJ and all that, but AJ's fighting Usyk right now, and he was trying to fight Fury. They're two of the most dangerous fights for him. They tried fighting Wilder. I mean, what he's done with Canelo. I feel De La Hoya wasn't allowing Canelo to probably do that. And Canelo, he never really showed his personality when he was with De La Hoya, and now that he's with Hearn, we're kind of seeing his personality now. We're seeing Canelo fight. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. Not bad. I thought you were done.
Oh no, obviously now Canelo's fighting 4 times a year. He's getting allowed to do that because of Hearn. So yeah, it's probably Hearn, definitely Hearn.
Yeah, go on, EK. You were going to say something.
And recently, after the Tank fight, Floyd was saying, we're not going to make anyone else great. We're going to only fight in-house. And I feel like that's like the mentality a lot of the promoters have. But like Eddie Hearn isn't of that mentality. That's why I like him more.
And the thing is, what's bad about that is the fans are agreeing with Floyd. They're not taking anything to heart what Floyd just said. He's basically just said that Tank's not fighting any of the guys you want him to fight, and people
and all the top guys are on the other side. So he's not going to fight any of the top names.
Yes.
Very, very frustrating.
That's no good. That's no good for boxing fans.
Yeah.
That's no good. By the way, how do you think Tank gets on? EK and Makai, how do you think Tank gets on at 135 and 140?
140. 140. I think he should not campaign there. Like, obviously he has to go through Taylor if he wants to do anything big there, because Taylor's got all the belts and he definitely doesn't beat Taylor. But 135, I mean, he's always got a chance with the power. With the power he's got good skill. But I feel guys like Lopez, Haney, if he plays it safe, and who else? And Loma I feel they'd beat Tank, but I feel Davies would beat Ryan Garcia. It's a big money fight there. And obviously all the other ones like Alvarez, Gatekeeper and all that. But yeah, I don't see him being those kind of guys, but I'd love to see him do it. We never know.
Fair enough. What about you, EK?
I actually think Teofimo and both Tank are the two top dogs in 135, and if they move to 140, I think they'll be the top dogs eventually at 142, because I think Tank is not only like a power puncher, like I think his IQ is up there, and he's one of the for me, he's one of the top 10 fighters pound for pound. Tank, Gervonta Davis, and I think Teofimo is better than him, but I still think those two guys can like move up to 140 and still like be at the top of that division.
Yeah.
Obviously, Josh Taylor right now is the king. Like, I wouldn't if they were to fight right next, it'll be a 50-50 fight for me. But if Tank like slowly makes his way up there, I think he'll knock Josh out.
Do you think Tank
I really
beats?
think so. Yeah. I think his power is like.
Yeah,
and his
brother
defense
thinks that as well. He thinks that.
But eventually, I'm not saying right now. Like Josh would he'd outpoint him and everything. But I'm saying like if he takes like 3 more fights at 140, then I think it's and if he fights Josh in that time, I think it's good. I think Tank would win, and so would Teo. I think Teo, if he moves to 140 and like keeps on like fighting, I think these two guys will be the top dogs.
Fair enough.
And right now, they are the top dogs.
Do you think
Loma's up there too.
Do you think he'd beat Loma and Haney then?
I mean, judging on like Loma's last 2 performances, I'd say it's 50-50. Because like Loma, like we saw what happened in Teofimo, like he was respecting his power and like speed. With Teofimo, like I think Tank is just as powerful.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be like it's a 50-50 fight. I'm not gonna pretend like I wouldn't be like nervous while watching that fight. So I feel like Tank like if anyone says he's not gonna beat Loma, they're just like either a Loma fan or they're just a hater. It's a 50-50. Those fights are like that's why we want them. Like we don't know what's 100% gonna happen. We need to see those fights, but it's not gonna happen.
Tank's definitely got a chance with Loma and Haney. It's just I feel if Haney, obviously the reason why I said if he plays it safe, because seeing in his last fight, I feel he wanted to try and prove a point to the fans, because obviously they were calling him boring. So he kind of like he swung with Linares sometimes, made it a bit exciting. But obviously he's not going to do that with Tank. If he plays it safe, use his feet, his jab, I feel he'll probably beat Tank. I mean, Haney's the worst. If you think about it, he's like the worst fighter you'd want to fight, really. He's like, because he's so tall, he's good in his feet, he's slick, and he's got long arms.
Yeah, and he has the best jab in boxing, Haney.
Yeah, he has a really,
he has so much
really good jab.
Combinations.
And Tank's really small. People seem to forget that Tank's. I mean, he's probably like the same size as Loma.
Yeah, he's 5'4", isn't he?
Him and Loma, they're small people, and I mean, imagine Haney. Well, we've seen Tank fight Barrios, but Barrios, he hasn't got the IQ of Haney and the feet. But I don't think Haney's got any power. So Tank will be okay with that. Yeah,
I'd agree. Guys, just a quick one. Joshua Usyk, before we call it a wrap. Joshua Usyk, EK.
Joshua should win it. Like, I hope he's not taking him lightly, because like he was so pumped up for Fury probably, and now I don't know what his like state is right now. Like he's probably like waiting for the biggest payday of his life and everything, the biggest fight of his life, and now he has to fight Usyk. So he should beat Usyk, but I just don't like you never know with heavyweights, I guess. But I go with AJ by stoppage, late stoppage.
Yeah. Makai, you last one before we call it a wrap.
Obviously, the last stream, I said Usyk.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, you did. Yeah, you did. He did.
Yeah, even if Joshua was fully focused, he was just fully focused on Usyk the whole time. I still think Usyk wins. But yeah, obviously I explained my point of why I feel he beats in the feints, the footwork and everything. And AJ telegraphs a lot of his punches. He's not going to land all of them. And I feel when he misses a lot of those punches, he will gas out, and then that makes it easier for Usyk. And I mean, Usyk, he's always on you as well. Like even when he's on the back foot, he's still jabbing you. He's still throwing. And AJ's not used to that. He's not used to a guy who loves. He's a volume puncher, really. Usyk kind of, and he's on his feet all the time. AJ's never been used to guys like that, and he's such a big guy. I mean, people don't understand when AJ's throwing those combos, it takes a lot out of him, and he's not going to land easy on Usyk.
Could you guys imagine if AJ gets knocked out by Usyk and Wilder knocks out Fury? Like, it'll be such a mess.
Yeah, Usyk versus Wilder for undisputed.
Wilder v Fury, who wins that?
Oh, Fury. I think I'm not going to say he smashes him worse. Actually, no. I think Fury's actually going to I think Fury might knock him out badly this time. Not beat him up. I feel like he's actually going to catch him, and Wilder's just going to be gone.
I think Fury should win, and I just unless Wilder somehow just connects. If Fury's really reckless and just walks him down, I guess without maybe if he showboats put his hand down or something. I don't know. But Fury, I'm 80% sure Fury would win.
Yeah, I'm really confident in Fury, to be honest. I mean, and his trainer's been saying he's gone a lot more powerful, and obviously he's been with what's his trainer's name again? Sorry.
Okay, I have one last question, I guess. What do you guys, all three of you, what do you guys got for Manny and Spence?
Oh yeah, we talk about that all the time. Yeah.
I'm
back, people.
Right, Stephen.
I think Pacquiao.
Really? Honestly, I think Spence is gonna retire.
I mean,
I think Spence is gonna retire Manny Pacquiao now, and he's gonna be a full-time politician.
My only worry for Pacquiao is his stamina. But Pacquiao said the 2 years he's had off has actually helped him. So I don't really know. But I mean, it's not like his stamina's going to get better.
Yeah, obviously Manny is not going to say, 2 years off is made me slower.
He's
not
always
go say that before.
But even if Pacquiao does gas out, he's always had that warrior mentality. So, and I mean, if you think about it, really, imagine a prime Pac versus a prime Spence. That's the worst matchup for Spence.
Yeah, but this is a prime.
But then again, this is a 42-year-old Pacquiao.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not extremely confident in it. But I mean, if Pacquiao's stamina's right, I would pick him all day.
I'm basing my opinion on.
You know what?
Sorry, go ahead.
You know what? Manny Pacquiao's birthday is I'm December 16th, 1978. Manny Pacquiao, his birthday is December 17th, 1978. I'm old. And, there's no two ways of putting it. I don't feel like doing much of, anything that's going to cause a long-term exertion. I'm not for it. Now, I'm not by any means putting myself in Manny Pacquiao's position, but it's going to be a chore for him to deal with the young hog, and Earl Spence Jr. constantly coming at you. He's going to damage him.
Exactly.
What'd you say, Imran?
Yeah, I'd hate for that to happen, but you have to say that Spence was he's a substantial favorite. Even though I think Pacquiao has a chance, but yeah, it's going to be tough, man. 42 years of age. When people say it could be the greatest win in boxing history, a 42-year-old Manny Pacquiao beating a 30-year-old prime Errol Spence, there's a reason why people are saying that, because it's never been done in boxing before, that kind of feat. 42-year-old beating a prime 30-year-old in his prime who's in the top 5 pound for pound. Yeah, that doesn't happen in boxing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also, I was watching Keith Thurman versus Manny Pacquiao the other day. Like after like the second half of the fight, like Manny getting hit a lot. Like I'm not saying like it wasn't a flawless win. It was a win for Manny, amazing win. But he was like getting like his face was getting turned in punches. He's turning left. Or like Spence is like the top guy in welterweight. So I'm so surprised when he took this fight. I really I think it's gonna be his last fight, Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah, that's my only problem.
I really don't see him fighting after this one.
Like me and Imran talk about it all the time, man. I mean, like for him to pull it off is gonna be a phenomenal.
Yeah, it'll be like a movie. It'll be like they'll be making movies in Philippines, and like every.
If he
the
does,
soundtrack would be by Manny Pacquiao because he sings.
And you know, without the knockdown, he didn't beat Keith Thurman.
No,
without that knockdown, he did not beat him.
No, the 10th round, like because like Keith was really hurt to the body.
I disagree.
Like, yeah, one of the rounds later, like Keith was about to go out. He was about to take a knee.
Even without the knockdown, Pacquiao.
He wasn't gonna take no knee.
But he was about.
He was getting Pac-Man the business, man.
Yeah, like Manny almost gave an abortion, bro. Like that body punch is crazy.
Yeah, Pacquiao's a beast. But I think we can all agree that in the start rounds, the first 6, I feel Pacquiao will probably give Spence fits with his footwork. I mean, Spence is he's a bit basic, isn't he? He just comes in a straight line with his hands up the end. He's just very I wouldn't say robotic. He telegraphs these punches a lot, and I feel that's going to be quite easy for the first 6 to figure him out.
That's what everybody think. Everybody think Errol Spence is basic until they get their ass in there and get hit in their mouth and get hit in their gut and start taking these, this, that, and the third. Because the boy, I'm telling you, man, Errol Spence Jr. is exquisitely sound. He don't skip a beat. He just keep coming and coming, just like the Energizer Bunny.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
This is Pacquiao.
No, but I feel like Energizer Bunny is more for Manny Pacquiao.
I don't care if it's Jesus Christ. He's still coming.
It's not a Danny Garcia or Porter. I mean, Porter, he's nothing like Pacquiao. I mean, he's a guy who throws a lot, but he's not like superior footwork, speed.
I really wanted Manny to fight Mikey Garcia rather than Spence. That's more of a 50-50.
Yeah, that's more of a 50-50. Mikey Garcia, Pac-Man.
Yeah.
But Spence, he's
really,
another animal, man.
I see that as a really easy fight for Pac. I see Pacquiao versus Garcia as a really easy fight for him.
Oh, it's way easier than Spence.
You know what bothers me? What bothers me is like
it's way easier than Spence, that's for sure. But
you know what bothers me is like people with these absurd, like, come on, how you gonna say it's an easy fight for Pac-Man?
That is an easy fight.
Like, how do you rationalize that? Have you seen what he does? Is that Gammo?
Gammo's in the house.
Hey, yo, what up, y'all? We tapping in, baby.
It is hell as well. No, I mean, I don't see anything special in Garcia. And welterweight, especially. I mean, he got smashed up by Spence. He didn't look good against Vargas. Imagine putting him with Pacquiao.
Hey, yo, Pacquiao fight is on, baby. He's actually landing 1 week earlier than expected, so he'll be here next Monday.
It's great.
Yo,
yes, sir.
Gammo, man. Gammo, my man. Gammo's in the house. Gammo, any news about the Pacquiao Spence fight?
Yeah, man. It looks like it's on. Manny should be here on Saturday. He's gonna take Sunday off to rest and then start training on Monday with Justin Fortune and Freddie Roach, as well as Marvin. So yeah, man, it's looking good.
Have you seen Pacquiao train?
Yeah, I'm gonna link up with him on Monday. Like when he starts training.
Sick.
So yeah, man. Getting ready now, baby.
Nice.
Yeah, fight's on. Dude, I'm stoked, man. I just hope that it doesn't get pushed to the side if there is like a sideline order or something. Yeah, man. What are you guys talking about right now?
So we just talking about Pac, and we were talking about Canelo and that for majority Canelo, and we were talking about others like Crawford and Spence, and then obviously towards the end we just started talking about Pacquiao Spence and how Steven thinks that Spence is gonna wear down Pacquiao, and Mackay were going back and forth because Mackay said that he thinks Pacquiao's going to win.
Yeah, man, we'll have to see because logically, Spence should win, but greatness defies logic, So we'll have to see, man. But logically, Spence should win. He's younger, bigger, taller, longer reach. But that's where greatness comes in, baby.
And, what are you doing, Gamo, right now? Where are you?
Just finishing up my run, man, and then I got some work later. Yeah,
oh, right,
boxing like at night. But yeah, man. Well, for Canelo, there's really, I feel like nothing for him at 168. I mean, you could go down to 160. You could go up to 175. He needs like a premier prime win right now, man. I mean, he's fighting decent opposition, but he needs a who has like his last premier prime win, I'd say was Triple G one. He needs to fight somebody in their prime right now. That can actually beat him, that has a chance to beat him,
He just fought Billy Joe.
But yeah, Canelo hasn't really been in a 50-50 fight where he could lose. That's where you want to, because we already knew he was going to beat these guys. They had no chance at all of beating him. Yeah, they're going to put up a good fight, but the first rounds. But he needs to fight better Beaver or Beeble, man.
I mean, they're the only. Beterbiev is probably the if that's your logic. Then I mean, Beterbiev, I guess, is probably his only toughest fight. Then because I see him being Charlo.
Beterbiev was only had like 15 fights. How many fights does he have?
Yeah, like 18.
He spent most of his. Yeah, he spent most of his career in the amateurs.
You guys think 175 is too big for Canelo?
Yeah, I think he should finish out.
It's not 168.
It's
not his weight. He wants to fight him.
I think he can beat those guys at 175.
He definitely has a chance. He says he wants to fight them. Obviously, I was in shock when he said he wants Beterbiev. I didn't think he wanted to go down that road because obviously he said like a month before that.
Capping, man. Because that would make him a 5-division champion. But I hope he's not.
That's his only toughest fight as well.
He would still be a 4-division champ because like he's
already won a belt at light heavyweight.
Yeah, he fought Crusher.
Kovalev.
Yeah.
I mean, all the Canelo's fights, they have been tough still.
He'd have to beat AJ to be a 5-division champ.
Yeah. So, Gamo.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah. If Canelo fought Benavidez, do you like that fight?
Man, I like that fight, man. I think Canelo has more experience, but it's just the only advantage Beterbiev has is size, weight. But Canelo's used to that, just like Manny, man. I think Canelo is still the better boxer. Canelo does good with tall guys, man. He breaks down their arm. He hits them in the biceps, so like they can't even punch, I need to see it, man. I think he could win, definitely. But if
what y'all talking about?
What happened?
Canelo we were just talking about Canelo and Beterbiev and stuff.
Yeah, man, I want to see him. If he could stay at that division, if he unifies that division, or becomes undisputed.
You want to see Canelo get his you want to see Canelo get his ribs crushed in by Beterbiev?
Yeah, I want to see that fight for sure.
I'm asking Ahmed. Not Ahmed, but
it's not even David.
I want to see that fight, Steven. I want to see that fight. That's a great fight.
You want to see Canelo get his face crushed in?
Let's see it. Let's see if Beterbiev can crush his face.
Yeah, Beterbiev has a worse defense.
Hey, Steven. Hear what EK has to say about that fight. EK, tell me what you think about Canelo Beterbiev.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, I think Beterbiev has a chance to win, but he has a worse defense in boxing, and I think just the event with like 70,000 people in the stands and shouting Canelo, the whole atmosphere. I think Canelo will beat him.
Yeah, I think they already watched some film study on him. Probably Eddie Ray.
Yeah, and he's too slow. He's way too slow.
And yeah, he's kind of slow, a little stiff on his defense. So, I mean, that's his best bet at that weight.
Yeah, so you see everyone's picking Canelo to edge him out here.
I love it.
Why do you?
This is actually what I live for.
What? What's that?
My wife. I'm in the car with my wife. She had a phone.
Oh, right. Okay. Fair enough. But yeah, guys, man, I appreciate all of you guys coming on, man. It's been great. Like another great live stream, another mammoth one, man. 3 hours.
You coming on tomorrow?
Yeah, definitely. I'll come on tomorrow, man. I'll come on tomorrow again, hopefully. But yeah, guys. I'll see Gamo, Stephen, Ahmed, EK. I want to thank all of you coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. I hope they make that Lomachenko Teofimo rematch, man, after Kambosos if he gets past him.
Yeah, I hope so as well, man. I hope so. Gamo, man.
Yeah, this time Loma's gonna whoop him.
Yeah, the fight's definitely gonna be much better.
Why you cut your beard off, man?
As soon as Loma's
a lot of trouble, man.
Well, it look good, man. No homo.
No, it's giving me trouble, mate, man. It's giving me trouble. You know what I mean? Like the beard, it's giving me a lot of trouble, man.
Too many guys were saying it looked good. So
yeah, I'm not. Do you shave? Do you clean shave?
No, I never clean shave. Never.
No, but that's what I mean.
Lied.
I do. That's what I'm saying. So my mind was itchy. You know what I mean? When you
take care of yourself, man?
Hey,
are you taking care of yourself?
Yeah, I need to, man. I need to. You know what I mean? Too many live streams talking too much.
Well, you need to, man, go see the doctor about your throat or whatever, man.
Yeah,
we need around, man.
I will, for sure.
You gotta take care of yourself, man.
Yeah, I will, man. I'm gonna go. You can't get an appointment at the minute, man, because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
It's opened up here, man. In LA, things have opened up slowly, but it's better now, man. So the mass restrictions lessened. So it's cool, man. I'm stoked.
Yeah.
Hey, Gamble, you know they got that.
Steven, Gamo, you going to the Pacquiao fight?
Yes, sir.
I'm going.
You going?
Yeah, I already got my tickets, man. I had to spend over $1,500 US.
Oh,
damn, 1,500. I don't know about that.
Yeah, man, because like I'm not trying to go there if I'm gonna be further from the ring, you know. So yeah.
Hey, man, I might give you my number, man, and try to hook up with you to, at least at the bar and go to drink or something.
Yeah. When I'm in Vegas, man, let me know. Hit my line.
Yeah.
That'd be great, man, to get you guys on. Get you guys,
baby. Getting right. Woo.
Gamo, man, how old are you?
Check it. Me, I'm 23, man. I'm the same age as Teofimo, Ryan, Shakur, all of them, man.
Yo, man.
Gamo, he older. He young enough to be my son.
Yeah.
You guys are like 28 to like 40.
I'm 28. Yeah, I'm 28.
I'm a day older than Manny Pacquiao.
Okay, yeah. So Imran's approaching his prime age, and then 41, 42 is still young, man. If you take care of your body, bro.
Yeah, I try to.
Yo, Steven, man, you don't look 42, whatever. You don't look Pacquiao's age, man.
Man, I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, I thought you were in your 30s, man. Yo, I was shocked when you told me you're older than Pacquiao.
Yeah, man, I'd say like 32, 33.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. But Imran, man,
you guys have a great day.
Imran, you need to take care of yourself, man.
Yeah, I will, man. I will for sure.
You need to get some sleep and everything.
It's this throat. It's been giving me trouble. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, we on top of the hills, baby.
Yo, where is that, man? Where is that? That looks sick. Where's
That's
that?
LA, man. I'm just getting ready right now, man. Trying to cut out the rest of this fat. Just,
Imran, you
get that muscle right. You already know.
Imran, you ever been to LA?
No, never been to America, man.
What?
Yeah, never been to America.
Man,
Yeah, man. I mean, if you ever come here, man, it'll be wild because, you know, it's so diverse, man. There's different parts too, East Coast, West Coast. So shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
You gotta come, man, one day.
Hey, where you at, Steven?
I'm in Oklahoma City.
Oh, okay. Well, what state is that? That's cool.
He said, "What state is that?" I'm in Oklahoma.
Oh, okay. OKC, for sure.
Yeah, OKC.
Yeah, OKC. Yeah, man. I was fucking with them when they had Paul George and Russell. But
yeah, Paul George, Russie, Serge Ibaka, Kevin Durant.
Yeah, man. And they didn't win it, and they didn't even go to the finals.
I know, man.
I think
That's
they lost
crazy.
LeBron, but that team, yeah.
Hey, Guillermo, you a Clipper fan or a Laker fan?
No, I roll with I actually went to the Clippers game, like last week. Yeah. But I'm going for the. I fuck with the Suns. Chris Paul's nice.
Yeah. Shit, I think the Suns gonna win it all. What you think?
Yeah, I mean Booker showing up. I mean, you know, so they got DeAndre Ayton. That's a good because I hoop too, man. I used to hoop.
I don't know what's going on with the stream, man. What's going on here? Oh, both of them been cut off. What's going on? Why have they been cut off? Gamo's gone. Steven's gone. Ahmed's gone. I don't know what's going on. Guys, anyway, I'll call it a day. I don't know what's going on with the stream. I think there's something wrong. But yeah, cheers for everyone being on. All of the guests, EK, Steven, Ahmed, everyone in the live chat, everyone in the stream, everyone contributing in the live chat. If you want to come on next time, I'll be doing these. Just let me know. But I appreciate everyone being on, man. Everyone that's contributed, in the live chat. I appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next